What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode here today of A-plus More Phenomenal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman news and reviews right here over on our YouTube page, going live today, also on our Facebook page today as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us for a special time today over here at 2 p.m. Central Time. I know it's a little bit off from our noon Central Time slot, but had to maneuver some things around, things like that earlier on today. But I'm definitely not going to leave you guys empty-handed, to certainly say the least, as we have ourselves a stacked show for you guys today. We're going to be breaking down Dino Fury episode number 20, the penultimate episode to the finale for season 1. We also got some big news in regards to Jason David Frank's upcoming Legend of the White Dragon, which I think on Twitter they mentioned that there's supposed to be a brand new trailer that's dropping today. I was kind of hoping that it would have dropped already, but I haven't seen it as of yet on social media. But we definitely have news from there regardless. We got some Power Rangers. I think it's Mighty Morphin issue number 14 preview for you guys. And of course, some tokusatsu news in the realm of Donbrothers and Kamen Rider certainly headed your way today, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us at a different time today. And then, of course, towards the end of the episode, we're going to go ahead and get to your guys' live viewer questions. So thank you very much, guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy today's show. Let's see here. Who's in our live chat certainly joining us today? We got Harka in the house making their presence known. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Repeating my title to me. Thank you very much. Who else we got? Enrique Perez is in the house. What's up, man? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Blossoms in here. Adam Perea. It's Morphin time. Thank you very much for certainly asking. Who else we got? Adrian certainly in the house. Power Rangers Ready is certainly here. B plus more phenomenal AJ coming through with another YouTube. How many YouTube channels, like how many Google accounts do you have at this point? I've kind of really lost track, honestly. We got Jordan in the house. Also, Isaiah, good to see you in here, man, as always. Video DVD making their presence felt. Of course, we got Datilla. Thank you very much. It's good to see you in here. Talking about the Legends of the White Dragon, she says it's supposed to drop today at some panel at LA Comic-Con. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Marcelino Vasquez is here as always. Thank you, man. And the A Games 10, thank you so much for certainly coming through. And then, of course, Koala is certainly in the house. Oh, I just got a bunch of people that just jumped in here last minute. Edward Sanchez Productions, Trent Dino's in here. Thank you very much. Good to certainly see you. We got Charles Abraham. Charles is in the house for sure. He says, what time is it for you? It's 2 p.m. right now. So California time, we are 2 hours ahead of you guys. And then the East Coast is 3 hours ahead of you guys. So yeah. Look, guys, I'm going to try and give as much energy as I possibly can today. Yesterday was a really long evening, if you will, watching over Noah throughout the night. The girlfriend had to get ready for a house showing this morning. So I took duty last night to go ahead and watch over Little Man throughout the evening. So if I'm dragging a little bit, it's a combination of sleep deprivation along with my allergies are just kicking my ass, honestly. It truly is. I probably shouldn't even be drinking coffee this morning, but I needed something to kind of give me some energy. It's just one of those things where, yeah, my allergies are just acting up with all the dog hair around here and stuff. My office is probably a little bit dusty. I'm probably going to go ahead and run a vacuum through here and clean up the office a little bit. Adding to continuing to build to my office, I wind up getting a TV stand, a wall mount for my television that I'm going to go ahead and put up there. I also wind up this week getting some LED lights that I'm going to go ahead and hang up here. Also, if you guys remember from my old set when I was living over in Louisville, while I didn't have LED lights like this, just strips, I did have the LED bulbs that I used to go ahead and put up and maybe add some color to the background. So definitely doing some new things around here with the office. I'm probably going to get some aluminum channels to run at the top, around the top of the ceiling here. Maybe when I put my bookshelf and all my stuff up against the wall, maybe I'll outline the back a little bit so we can get maybe some color pops and stuff. I'm just kind of thinking of some creative ways to go ahead and improve on the production set and things like that of the office here. So little things like that definitely, hopefully, will certainly go a long way. But In the meantime, I've put everything to the side and everything's just been collecting dust and dog hair and things like that. So I'm pretty sure my allergies are just kicking my ass on top of sleep deprivation. So pop some allergy medicine today. So hopefully it'll start kicking in here a little bit. So I'll definitely do my best to try and bring that energy for you guys today. I do see we got some other people joining us today. As always, let's see who else we've got. Datilla said, "Did you get your tickets for Spider-Man: No Way Home?" I did. Yeah, I've got not for premiere night on Thursday, but for Friday afternoon. I think at like 2 o'clock. That's like December 17th. So I'm gonna go ahead and check it out that day. And just to show you how cool my girlfriend is, okay. I really wanted us to go ahead and see this movie together. I was really adamant about the idea, like, hey, if we can't go and see the movie together, then I'm just not going to go ahead and see it. The first trial of parenthood here, the idea of like, we need a babysitter, Adam. Like, oh, damn, that's right. We can't just up and go to a movie that we want to go see anymore. We really have to find somebody to watch the baby for us. And with him being a preemie and still so young, we really don't feel too comfortable leaving a baby with somebody else for 2.5 hours. Even if it is grandma, it's just the idea of, he's still a preemie, maybe when he gets a little bit older. But so, I told the girlfriend when she said, we need to get a babysitter. I told myself, I was like, okay, well, we'll just, whenever we get the opportunity, we'll go ahead and see the movie. And for like, after that, like 2, 3 days straight, the girlfriend was adamant. She's like, Adam, go see the movie, go get your ticket. I was like, but babe, I don't want to go see, I mean, I don't mind seeing the movie by myself, but it just feels weird seeing a movie without you now. And she was like, no, she's like, you go see the movie. I want you to see the movie. I want you to be able to know what's going on so you can make a review and talk about it on your channel and stuff. So I just want to show you guys just how lucky of a guy that I certainly am to have a girlfriend like that understands my passion for the things that I certainly does, respects it, and really wants me to be happy at the end of the day. So it's going to feel weird going to a brand new Marvel movie without her, but I appreciate the idea that she's thinking of me in that way. But who else we got in here? We got JB says what in the house. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. I believe I called you. I believe I mentioned you, Jordan. I could be wrong though. Who else we wind up getting? And then of course we got Power Rangers already still in here. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and kick into this damn episode, shall we? Let's go ahead and dive in as we got a couple topics that we're definitely gonna go ahead and tackle for you guys today. DHR2 certainly coming through. What's one of the best episodes of the season? Matter of fact, that in episode 21 are the best. Well, I got to agree with you, DHR. This was a fantastic episode here this week, one that I certainly was a big fan of. So if a lot of people are saying this is one of their best episodes of the season, I can definitely understand why, for sure. My mom, what's up, mom? She says, yes, totally lucky, and don't you forget it. Trust me, I definitely am not. I certainly have gotten it lucky, very much so. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and start diving into this week's episode. And of course, listen, as we wind up getting brand new people that wind up jumping into the chat last minute, certainly make them feel welcome and part of the family in here. And of course, certainly respect everybody's decisions. Emmanuel, what's up, Emmanuel? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. That sacrifice, compromise, is what makes a family so special, man. Absolutely. I'm continuing to learn that lesson each and every day, for sure. Never always a lesson to certainly learn around here, especially with a new kid. And then Trent Dino, what's up, Trent? He says 2 episodes left till bye Nickelodeon. That's right. And of course, guys, all these episodes are certainly available already over on Netflix for you guys. So you can check out the episode. You certainly don't have to wait for me to go ahead and get to the review. But if you want to go ahead and check out all of season 1 of Dino Fury, it is up on Netflix. And shout out to Brazil too. Brazil, I want to say, just posted because Power Rangers Brazil, I think, just became like an official Mega Power Brazil, just became like an official spokesperson for like Hasbro when it comes to Power Rangers over in Brazil. And they mentioned the idea that this upcoming January on Netflix in Brazil, they're going to be getting season 1 of Power Rangers. So congratulations to them. January should be a great month for those in Brazil. Check out Dino Fury if you haven't done so yet. But guys, let's get into Dino Fury episode number 20, Walking Nightmare, as we got ourselves a great focus on both Ion and Zato in this episode. Let me go ahead and bring up my notes too while we go ahead and discuss it. And real quick, honorable mention, guys, can I just say this? We do a reward or like an award show at the end of each half of the seasons. We did one for the first half of season one. We're going to do another one here for the second half of season two or season one. And one of the categories is best mucus moment. Because you guys know I'm such a huge fan of mucus. His performance in this episode, hands down, the best moment of Mucus's life. I can't imagine anything else topping her little musical performance that she wind up having in this episode. Like, I literally can't think of any other moment I've seen in season one. I can't even imagine anything else that's going to come in season two that's going to be better than this. So I can almost tell you right now that this Mucus performance that we wind up having with the henchmen coming out as her cheerleaders, her backup dancers and stuff, the idea that she pulls the sporks machine, like, what does this do? And Voight's not like, oh no, this now makes you the coolest person ever, Mucus. And just the fact that she absolutely loves it. Kudos to Simon Bennett and the writing team for making Mucus just as compelling as Crayon from Real Soldier, continuing to just boost the production. This almost felt like a mini musical from Beast Morphers that we wind up getting, that same type of energy in here. And, listen, I wouldn't mind a part two to a Mucus performance if we absolutely get it at some point in time. But I absolutely loved this moment, and I really can't imagine anything else sort of topping that. Despite the fact that, yes, she certainly was daydreaming, it certainly lived up to all my expectations. I did not know that I wanted this moment ever until I absolutely saw it. So I will say this: with this Mucus performance, I am curious, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we do keep Slither's hopefully performance in season two. In Real Soldier, Weisel has a great sort of set production, like a Broadway show sort of setup, where he's fighting the Rangers as his sort of final stand, is like his final battle of the season sort of thing. And I'm really hoping that that gets adapted into this particular next season of Dino Fury. Because listen, if they were able to put together a great little production piece for Mucus and her performance, I think they could do something really special with Slither and his, especially with his showmanship when it comes to his battle with the Dino Fury Rangers at some particular point in time. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. But you guys know I'm a sucker for flashbacks. So this episode really did great for me in regards to building up the lore and the history of both Ion along with Zato. I love the fact that they got some shine. And we kick off this episode with the idea of Ion experiencing these nightmares, right? His final moments during that final battle. We had seen clips already of it with the Ultra Zord, shooting out the escape pods and things like that. But we get to see that a little bit further and a little bit more detailed in his nightmare piece, but it winds up waking him up. And I kind of love this scene when he's walking along the command center and he bumps into Zato, who is also up too at this late of the time. And the fact that they are both having nightmares, I think, is pretty telling, because Zato, I feel like in the very first half of this season was maybe a little bit more open about Rafcon and talked a little bit about it a little bit more, talking about his mom and things like that. I mean, we did get to see the secret or the truth about what happened on Rafcon, the decision that Zato certainly had to make. But I love the fact that you get to see Zato still harboring a lot of that, those negative feelings, those really terrible circumstances that he wound up finding himself in. And I think the fact that he was the leader of that team, and the fact that he hasn't even mentioned it to us before, that he's experienced these type of nightmares, I do love the fact that we get to see that side of Zato, to say, look, he's always going to be holding on to that for as long as he certainly can remember. And the fact that him and Ion are sharing in those nightmares together, I thought was just really telling about who they are as people, leaders, and teammates and things like that. And I love, it's funny because I always had this saying, when they announced Real Soldier as the adaptation for Dino Fury, one of the things when we were talking about the titles, right? Like, what could they possibly name this season? And a lot of people were thinking Dino Knights, right? And I always had this this call for the, like, Dino Knights, fight for your rights, right? So the fact that they actually had a little bit of a call in this episode when they're together: valor, honor, strength, and pride. And then the team says knights together, side by side. I think that was great, and then just to see all the fists together in the circle is one of the reasons why we had to go ahead and put it on there on the thumbnail. We get to see that twice in the nightmare scenario, and then when we're on the other planet that Zato winds up getting trapped in. But I really love just getting to see the little pieces of what that past certainly looked like, getting to hear the voices of the past Rangers and things like that too really went a long way for me, to be perfectly honest with you guys. But this does open up the door for where we left off the previous episode, getting the opportunity to see that there are in fact other Dino keys that are certainly out there, right? Ion try, or I should say Zato tries to get Ion to go ahead and refocus. I love the fact that Ion asks him, is there anything different that we certainly could have done and things like that. And we quickly see Zato really trying to just kind of refocus Ion on the mission ahead, right? Getting ready to kind of explore and see what Dr. Arcana has certainly discovered. And she discovers a jackpot, people. All right. A jackpot. Twin raptors. I almost forgot that these raptors were certainly in Real Soldier, but I did not forget about their badass armor, to certainly say the least. So we've got the light dino key that they mention breaks magical curses. And then we also get the shadow dino key that also activates a shadow battle mode, which can actually open up a black hole. And then when you actually combine them together, it forms the cosmic dino key that winds up creating portals to anywhere. And I am really kind of curious to see, while they did use the portal in this episode to get to the new to get to the planet to go ahead and actually get the Zords themselves, there's a part of me that wonders if they're going to go ahead and use it again at some point in time. If not this season, I do wonder if that might pop up and say maybe next season, right? Maybe we don't necessarily get a crossover, but maybe the idea of being able to open up a portal to like any dimension and to go anywhere that you want to, like that's a powerful item to certainly have. And it feels like something that's really fun to play with as a creative mind if you're Simon Bennett and the writers. So I'm kind of hoping that these cosmic dino keys do come back to open up a portal, whether that's to the Beast Morphers world, right? Maybe that's where we get Commander Shaw's appearance from, and maybe any other future crossover or cameos that we certainly might get. Who knows if this cosmic dino key certainly comes into play, but such a badass design. I mean, especially towards the end of the episode when we see Ion actually rocking the shadow battle mode, and just seeing just like the black like raptor head on his shoulder, the glitter and the sparkles to kind of represent like the cosmos and stuff. I always loved it in Real Soldier, and it looks just as badass here in Dino Fury. So I'm really glad that they were able to utilize it. And then even the combination of seeing what Ion can do with the Shadow Raptor, the Moser Raptor, and the Shadow Raptor combination is sick. Like the black visor that kind of comes over his head, just the black, the blue, the gold, the purple sort of elements into it. Great design. Great design. I do have a question though, and when it comes to the Zord battle, towards the very end, he unleashes the Shadow Mega Blast. I am kind of curious if that's original footage. I feel like we got a lot of original footage in here from the Zords, especially when we see Ion on the planet. Those two Raptor Zords that are there, like that feels very much original footage. Like if this is what Hasbro is pushing out on their own when it comes to designing Megazords and stuff, I'm ready for original footage at this point in time. Like I don't even need Sentai footage if the Raptors are going to look that great on their watch. You know what I mean? On Hasbro's watch. So I did feel like we actually got some great original footage when it comes to the Zords in here, surprisingly. So yeah, Dr. Arcana, discovering the keys, dig them up, great new abilities for them. But that's not the only thing that Dr. Arcana winds up actually finding out and discovering. Dr. Arcana actually taps into the grid in this episode, noticing that there's a connection with the Dino Henge statues that they have and the grid. The fact that she actually is able to open up sort of, I don't want to say it's a portal, but whatever mechanism she attaches to one of the Dino Henge statues, it does go ahead and showcase the morphing grid above head. And Dr. Arcana is just kind of floored about the amount of power that it certainly has. um the idea here that the Rangers now can certainly tap into that morphing grid power, which sounds like what they're certainly talking about here. The fact that it was able to fully charge the cosmic Dino key so that they could reopen up the portal to the planet in this episode was pretty cool to see. But it definitely, that discovery certainly is not just beneficial to the Rangers, but it's also beneficial to Void Knight, who comes and finds out that he is able to tap into the morphing grid power if he's able to go ahead and capture Dr. Arcana's invention and things like that. So I love the fact that Void Knight is smart enough to go ahead and sort of call an audible here, right? I mean, over the past two episodes, his plan all season long has been, look, I'm just going to gather Sporix Beast, use their power from the Sporks to charge up my particular machine. But it's been very slow going for this guy. And there's been two times so far that I feel like he has called an audible in this season. This being the second one here, where he's like, you know what? Screw the Sporix Beast. I don't even need the Sporix anymore to go ahead and charge up powers. I'm just going to go ahead and tap into the morphing grid using this technology by Dr. Arcana. And then he also, the previous episode, right? He used one of the, he decided to keep and hold onto one of the Sporix for the Sporix Beast that has the ability to swap out bodies or like move people into each other's bodies. So I'm sure that certainly wasn't part of his plan originally. So the fact that Void Knight is smart enough to kind of think on his feet, not just be stubborn in his ways, seeing opportunities where opportunities lie. I love that idea, because now it just kind of throws out his old plan, and now he's got a brand new plan. And the fact that the Dino Fury Rangers are very aware that now he's got this ability where he can tap into it, I'm really loving what I'm seeing in here. And so for me, this has been a great, I want to say the past two episodes have been a really great build up to see what Void Knight's actions are really going to have when it comes to this finale. So I'm really eager to see how he winds up utilizing both of these new technologies in here, certainly going forward. But I will say this, going back to the Ion and Zato stuff, we do see that they do open up a cosmic gateway to a planet by the name of Nibiru. Now, Nibiru seems pretty brand new to me. I'm not quite sure if we've heard the term Nibiru. Maybe it's in the comic books for all I know. I'm not quite sure. In Power Ranger lore before. I am kind of curious if you guys have heard of the planet Nibiru or not. But we do see that Ion, or I should say Zato, jumps in at first. The portal is unstable, and it manages to close up behind him, but not before Zato actually sees his teammates once again. I did find it interesting that they were repeating the same things that Ion and Zato were experiencing from their nightmares, like the same sentences over and over again. And then when Ion gets the opportunity to open up the portal for the second time, this is where he certainly joins Zato to definitely go ahead and help him out in here. But we come to see that this particular planet has the ability to go ahead and create illusions, really nightmares, if you will. And this is something that Ion and Zato certainly pick up on, that their teammates are just kind of repeating all the negative and the bad sort of moments that have definitely happened to them, especially in their last nightmare. Kind of literally the title of this show, this episode, Walking Nightmares. So I really enjoy what Simon Bennett and the writers are doing in regards to at least continuing to add more lore and world building in here to this massive universe that is already Power Rangers. Again, I don't know if Nibiru is a new planet. It sounds new to me, but if you guys have a connection to any other previous seasons or comic books that this planet's from, definitely go ahead and let me know. But I love that it's got like its own little guardian in here, right? To go ahead and protect itself and its planet from sort of outsiders, if you will. I think that's just a really cool sort of guard and protection mechanism for a planet to have. But we see that Ion and Zato certainly overcome it. And I love the fact that it's Ion that really kind of connects the pieces and decides, look, this nightmare scenario is focusing so much on all the negative aspects of our team, right? What about the positive things that have certainly happened with us? And the fact that he goes back to that Dino Fury call, Valor, honor, strength, and pride, nights together side by side, really kind of awakening them a little bit, if you will, really really stopping this guardian from continuing along with these nightmares, and realizing just how what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just how, like, damn it, I'm blanking on the word that I'm looking for here. Just the idea that they're, that they're acceptable, that the planet can now let them sort of do whatever it is that they wish, you know what I mean? And so I like the idea that it's Ion that winds up coming up with that game plan, and really Zato that kind of takes a little bit of a back seat as he decides to go ahead and jump back through the portal to go ahead and certainly go to Earth. I really love how they've been handling Jordan Fight in here. I've been really impressed with him so far, really getting some opportunity to shine on his own, really getting some really great moments in Dino Fury so far. And this is just season one. Like, I feel like they're just sort of getting their feet under them. And I can't imagine what season two is certainly going to hold for us. But the Dino Fury cast has always talked about how crazy the second season is, and just how there's so much that we definitely do not expect to happen that's going to happen in Dino Fury season two, that I cannot wait to certainly see what they come up with in here. So I was a really big fan of this episode, man. Again, just the world building that Simon Bennett and the writers have allowed here for Dino Fury, going back to the flashbacks and the lore of the previous Dino Fury squad, seeing just the memories and how much of a burden Ion and Zato continue to just have, and the weight that's continuing to be on their chest and their shoulders from their past, and maybe some of their decisions that they've made and things like that, and the things they continue to struggle with. I did like this episode in the sense of this sort of being a way for them to maybe release some of that, right? Like, I can't see them maybe having those same nightmares. It feels like they've finally put a finality on that by coming face to face and coming to terms with some of their nightmares, and honestly remembering the good times that they wind up having with their team, and things like that. So and really what they were certainly fighting for this entire time. So yeah, man, solid episode overall. Really great focus on the Rangers in here, and they continue to do the thing that I kind of enjoy, is that they definitely leave you on cliffhangers. It seems like the endings in here are sort of so abrupt that this is like Simon Bennett saying, listen, these episodes are all connected, but Nickelodeon's not allowing us to say part one or part two or part three, right? Like, we have to really condense and finish off the main storyline within this episode. So I love the idea that he wraps up the episode, and then he teases you as to what's certainly coming next in the next episode, and then boom, credits roll, and I'm like, but I kind of wanted more. And so I love what I really love the format and the way that they're kind of working around the barriers that maybe Nickelodeon has kind of put in their way a little bit. So yeah, it continues to really impress me, man. Really impress me. And just another quick honorable mention in here, just to show you continuity. I love the fact that Ollie is still disguising his voice around his mom. At first, when we get the flashback moment, at first I thought to myself, because that's how the episode starts, right? With Ion having his nightmare, and you see the past Rangers. But at first I didn't realize that that was the past Rangers. I thought those were our Dino Fury Rangers. And then when I hear the voices, the first one I hear is the Blue Ranger. And I'm like, that's not Ollie. Why does Ollie sound that way? And then you realize, oh wait, that's the past team. And then when we come in the present day, and they're with Dr. Arcana, and the Blue Ranger has his weird voice again, I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like, wait a minute, oh, that's right. This is freaking Ollie still disguising his voice so his mom doesn't find out that he's a Power Ranger. So the fact that they still have Ollie doing that 20 episodes in, I thought was just really brilliant. I really did. And so for me, this really does make me continue to think Dr. Arcana is going to find out who he is. I just can't imagine a woman that brilliant, creating so much stuff, being, being so intuitive to the things that are going on around her, tapping into the freaking morphing grid. There's no way you're going to get past her in regards to the idea that she doesn't know. And for me, it would be so I am expecting her to find out at least by season 2. And I would be kind of curious to know, at what point does she know that he is in fact her son. So I am very interested to see how that turns out. But overall, man, And then the great humor in here with the great mucus performance that we got. I couldn't have asked for more. I honestly could not have asked for more. So this is probably one of my favorite episodes this season for sure. So if I see a lot of you saying this is hands down my favorite episode, see, I get where you're coming from, man. I get where you're coming from. I had a lot of fun with this episode, and I can't wait to see what episode 21 is certainly going to have in store for us. I remember when we talked about the episode descriptions. Episode 20 was definitely on my radar, especially with the episode of Ion's return and he reveals Zato's secret. That was another great episode too. This Dino Fury season 1 certainly has its bangers, guys. So I definitely hope you enjoyed episode 20 as much as I did. And just remember, at the end of the day, these are just my A plus opinions. I want to know yours though. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs. And let's move on to the discussion portion of this episode and see what some of you guys are saying in regards to this week's episode. Let's see here. So we find some good ones here. B plus says the shot where Ravcon Rangers are fighting Zato and Ion, the Blue Rangers doing a knee kick to Ion. Haven't saw that kind of kick since Disney era. Same location from Grid Connection. And shout out also to the great. We talked about the great original footage for the Zord battle, but the battle on Nebula was actually pretty intense too. Great camera angle choices, very dynamic shots and things like that. I love getting the opportunity to see the Rangers just kind of come through onto the scene when Zato winds up jumping through the portal at first, and then the other Rangers present themselves. Great wire work stuff in here also. But I'm glad you were a fan of the fight sequences. B plus for sure. Emmanuel says, bro, how they dove into the old Ranger team demise was cool, and me care for Ion and Zato. Yeah, I do love the fact that they gave the past Dino Rangers some shine. I do want to know what officially happened to them. There is a part of me that's thinking that because of the fact that we got the past Dino Fury Rangers in this form showcased to us, this kind of does solidify to me that they didn't make it out of the Ultra Zord explosion, which is sad to think about. But I think that's part of the reason of what drives the nightmares for Ion and Zato. The idea that they don't know what happened to their people, the rest of their teammates and things like that. Probably thinking that, yeah, they did certainly pass away, maybe perhaps during that moment. Who knows? Maybe season 2, they'll pop up somewhere. I would be completely open to that. But it does feel very much like because of them confronting this moment, it feels as though, yeah, they probably lost their teammates in that final battle, unfortunately. But yeah, it continues to build up why I love Ion and Zato especially so much, because they're doing great work and just building up their past, the difficulties, the struggles, the obstacles that they certainly had to overcome, and just how they're handling their decisions from the past in today. So I absolutely love it. JB says, Wes says, I still have questions about the final battle with the original team. And I think we're probably going to learn more. I feel like that's probably not the last that we've seen. Great shot too, right, of the Ultra Zord. And then the camera pans away. It's like the Ultra Zord in front of a sunset. And then the camera pans away and you just see like the henchmen and then the monsters and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool before it uses its final blast and things like that. But I don't blame you, JB. Again, me was just simply thinking to myself that they probably had their demise in the final battle, but maybe there's certainly more story to definitely be told there. I felt like when I watched Real Soldier from Dino Fury, they were very meticulous, or I should say, they were very careful to reveal everything up front. They kind of revealed more and more of like the big war and the big battle, especially towards the end of the season. So I think there might be more to certainly come, but we'll definitely see. Blossom keeps correcting me. Mucus is a girl. Yes, you're absolutely right. I did catch myself. I feel like I did catch myself, but sometimes it does get confusing because, yeah, Crayon, I believe, was a boy, if I'm not mistaken, in Real Soldier. Enrique says, will Void Knight be destroyed in the finale of Dino Fury next Saturday and will come back in season 2 on Netflix? Well, if he's destroyed in the finale, I don't know how he certainly comes back in season 2. So I'm expecting, if anything, I'm expecting Void Knight to come back because I believe Simon Bennett mentioned the idea that there is more Void Knight story to be told. So I don't know what his finale is going to be like in season 1. I don't know if he escapes. I don't know if he brings back his woman to life. I really have no idea what's going to happen here, but I'm expecting Void Knight to certainly return for season 2. Emmanuel says Mucus musical Golden, unlike the musical and Beast Morphers came out where the attire contradicts the gym real life and terrible singing. Well, I will disagree with you there, Emmanuel, and that's okay. That's okay. However you certainly feel. I do think that the Mucus musical was certainly golden. I definitely will agree with you there. But I think the attention and just the it's two different things of musicals here. I think you have to look at the context in which it was certainly presented to us. The fact that when you look at Beast Morphers, completely different environment to be in. It was really Steele's main storyline, with Nate certainly being there also. Because I think didn't Nate body swap, if I'm not mistaken? I believe it was Steele that was inside of Nate's body. So it didn't feel really out of place to me. So I got to disagree with you in the sense that it contradicts the Jim real life sort of mentality. I think if you look back at the context of the episode and just the grand scale at which they did the musical for Beast Morphers, having a bunch of extras, the different set designs, the fact that they really went full on musical performance. I got to give Beast Morphers credit for that. I think it's one of the best moments of the Neo Saban era that we've certainly have had so far when it comes to Power Ranger episodes. So agree to disagree to that, but I definitely get what you're saying, Emmanuel. JB says, I love me some Mucus. She is my fave, hands down. I definitely agree with you for sure. Jordan says, what did you think of the new Raptor keys and Zords? I love them. I absolutely love them. I remember in Real Soldier now after seeing them, because I kept thinking to myself, I know we've got other Zords that are certainly on the way. I kept thinking of the Pacquiao Zord. I kept thinking of the pterodactyl that's certainly headed our way. But for some reason, I forgot about the two Raptors, but their battle armors are incredible. And I think at some point in time in Real Soldier, somebody rocks both the light and the shadow, because I think the light is like an off white or like a crystal white sort of thing, and then clearly the shadow one is the black with the sparkle. So I dug it. I dug it. Blossom says, I like the idea of that dream spirit in the planet, referring to the guardian of Nubera. What did they call it? Hold on, let me see. I put it in my notes. Nibiru, the guardian of Nibiru. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. Super creative in regards to going ahead and creating like a new entity to add to Power Ranger lore. So who knows? Maybe that's a planet that gets revisited at some point in time. Koala, big fan of this episode, saying, I love this episode. I don't blame you. I was a big fan too. Blossom says Ollie's mom's device for seeing the morphing grid was incredible. Yeah, and it does make me kind of it does interest me at the idea that they can now sort of tap into the morphing grid directly in order to get powers and like power ups, if you will, or at least to charge things with ease if they wanted to, because that's how they wind up charging the cosmic dino key in this episode. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't want to say it feels too convenient, because now you have that sort of direct connection to the morphing grid. Um, for me, if anything, it definitely when I think of that, this kind of reminds me of Beast Morphers, right? When the mayor was talking about the idea of like in like episode 1, how villains tend to like come out of the woodwork all the time to try and gather power for themselves. I think this is what the mayor was warning us of. The idea of having access to something as powerful as the morphing grid, um, and not really having it contained to a certain extent, to where now you've got somebody like Void Knight who, Dr. Arcana creates a technology to tap into it, and now you've got somebody like Void Knight who manages to steal that tech, and now even himself can sort of tap into the morphing grid again. It's really, I feel it's a really dangerous scenario to find the Rangers to find themselves in, but definitely makes for compelling storytelling, to certainly say the least. Video DVD says it was a great episode. I hope they use the Cosmic Gateway to go to RAFCON for a future episode, and we also got original Zord CGI. Yeah, and that's what I was hoping, is that if you are going to introduce a cosmic key that allows you to go ahead and portal to anywhere that you certainly want to, I can't imagine that they don't use it again in some way or another, right? The idea of using it to RAFCON just seems plausible to me, and maybe even other dimensions. Like I said, maybe that's maybe the idea of Commander Shaw. Maybe that's how she certainly returns for season 2 at some point. So yeah, I'd be really interested to see. And yeah, you're right. The original Zord CGI look great in here. Not just the twin raptors, but even one of the things that I mentioned was the final blast that the Moza Razor Shadow Battle Zord, or whatever whatever Shadow Raptor Zord, whatever they called the Moza Shadow Megazord, when he gives his Shadow Mega Blast, that looks like original footage to me. And it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. So it does definitely seems like Hasbro continues to push the envelope in regards to what they can do, certainly on their own. And if you ask me, again, this is a further, for me, the idea that they're even experimenting with original Zord footage just continues to solidify to me that they really don't want to use Sentai footage, if at all possible, if they can get away with it, and if it's in their budget. So I'm expecting big things for the remainder of season 2. Jordan says, yeah, it was a good episode. Love the new Raptor Zords. I definitely feel like they'll use the Shadow Key next season. I'm definitely with you there too. Byron says, I hope they use that new portal in season 2. I mean, it definitely use it a lot more often than just once. You got to, right? You got to. You have to. Adam Perea says there is a fan-made Dino Fury White Ranger of Alexandra Nunez. Her Zords are the 2 Raptor Zords. That's pretty badass. That's pretty badass. I can't lie. To be that creative, to finally give Alexandra Nunez a Ranger of her own, especially with the beauty of the 2 Raptor Zords. I really love the combination. I truly do. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Power Rangers Ready says the Raptor Rangers were definitely brand new footage, and they look great. I mean, granted, they were just there, head spitting, walking into the portal sort of thing. But regardless, the fact that you're able to do that with your own CGI, I love it. I love it. Byron says, I'd love some focus episodes on Dr. Arcana, like who she is. Yeah, for me, I wouldn't mind an Ollie episode that focused on Ollie and his mom, that really gave them a majority of the episode. But they continue to use, I feel like they continue to use their supporting characters extremely well in this season, honestly, really giving Dr. Arcana some opportunity to shine. Because honestly, I feel like there are some characters that kind of fall off. Like, I feel like I haven't seen Jane and Jay Borg in a minute. And I do wonder if it's a case of, hey, we are getting to the final couple of episodes in here. We really want to make sure that our focus is on some of these other supporting characters that are really going to have weight when it comes to the remainder of the season. And they've been doing a great job in that. I mean, I feel like we've seen Dr. Akana in like the past 3 or 4 episodes, right? The Gold Ranger reveal where she's experimenting on the bay, with her submarine. Then we got her in the previous episode with Pop Pop as they are excavating the Purple Beard's chest. And then she winds up popping up in here also. They're really utilizing her extremely well. What's up, S Chroma? Certainly good to see you in here. Off topic. Are you ready for Spider-Man next weekend? I certainly am. And happy birthday, early birthday to you, S Chroma. Marcelino, thank you for the clarification. He says the Nibiru is new to Power Rangers. Well, you know what? Boom Studios, have at it, man. I hope that they continue to use this planet, because I would love to see that Guardian certainly come back and utilized in other ways. If this is his power in regards to protecting that planet, one, it makes me wonder what else is there that's worth protecting, right? Or has he just been doing this simply the whole time because of the Raptor Zords that have been there? Or is there more on that planet that's there for him to certainly discover? I think that would be pretty cool if there are other items on Nibiru. So I hope they utilize them again, whether that be in the show or the movies at some point in time. So Ryan Parrott, hope you're watching Dino Fury, man. I think he just gave you a great new planet to certainly explore. Tony Robinson's in the house. What's up? Very good to see you in here, Tony. As always, man. B plus says, I love that Ion got to use his Mosa blaster morpher to activate the portal. Definitely makes it a unique device. I can see it being used again in season two. Yeah, I wonder if his device is the only one that can utilize the cosmic key. Or if they're going to be able to utilize it in any other particular sort of ways, right? I mean, I'm curious if the key can go into their chroma sabers too or not, but we'll see. We'll see if it's only Ion that can utilize it. JB says, Wes says, I wonder why Zato and Ion were the only two with pods. Did they say just the hell with their team? I certainly doubt it. But I would be curious if maybe the other Rangers just couldn't make it in time. Maybe the explosion just came a lot quicker than they certainly thought, right? Clearly Ion, talking about the explosion, it clearly knocked out Ion for like centuries. He had no idea, certainly, what went on there, too. The fact that the explosion even knocked the Raptor Zords to a whole completely different planet, I think says something about the explosion. Makes me wonder, is Rafcon even still out there, or did that explosion just destroy the entire planet, too? I think we'll definitely get more insight. But, it would be cool to see if the Dino Fury Rangers from the past managed to survive at some point. Whether or not they have their abilities, it would be pretty cool just to see maybe their human forms. You know what I mean? Who are they under the mask? I would love that opportunity. Byron says, I have a theory. As soon as Santora wakes up, I think Santora will be as powerful as Trakina from Lost Galaxy, especially towards the end of Lost Galaxy. Well, look, I can tell you this. While I don't know how they're going to showcase her in Dino Fury, the character that Santora perhaps might represent, I'm assuming maybe that's Precious from Real Soldier. That could be Madam. The girl, the lady from Tokuger that I think there might be reutilizing the costume from. I am curious if that's who she's certainly going to turn out to be by the end of the season. I have no idea, but I am expecting some great things from Santora to certainly go forward. Could Santora be from Rathcon or KO35 or Eltar? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe from Ravcon. I'm hoping that there's more to certainly explore in here. Like, how does Void Knight know her? What are their connections in here? Void Knight certainly seemed extremely thrilled at the idea that, hey, his opportunity to wake her is getting there closer now that he's finding alternative options and things like that. So some great stuff to look forward to. Johnny Morero's in the house. What's up, Johnny? He says, "Hey, Adam, what's up, man? I really love this episode. Great action, especially with the crate trick scene. That was so cool and awesome. Glad you loved it, man. Glad you were a big fan. We also got Frankie in the house. Thank you very much, Frankie, for certainly coming through." JB says, "What says that was cringe to me with Ollie? Yeah, with him continuing to disguise his name. I totally get it, man. I totally get it." Oh, Jordan says the voice threw him off too. I was like, what is going on here? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's right. Dr. Arcana's in the scene too. So he's disguising his voice. It definitely threw me off. It definitely threw me off for the first couple of questions. Datilla, big fan of episode 20. She says she certainly liked it. Feels Dino Fury has definitely been rather amazing. I got to agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Edward Sanchez, big fan too. He says, I really enjoyed watching this episode. Yeah, it was really great. A lot of original footage, a lot of heart-to-heart moments, a great sort of reveal of what the past was certainly like for the Dino Rangers leading up to that final battle and that final moment. And again, I think the Zato and Ion stuff really won me over in regards to just seeing how they've really been handling the trauma, and the PTSD, if you will, over the past 30 million years. Like the fact that they've been asleep this entire time and are still having these nightmares from time to time. I thought it was just really compelling that we even get to see Zato still struggling with that after all these years. JB says, "What says I gave up on a real soldier after 10 episodes." I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. It was a hard season to get through. Anthony Anthony Rodriguez coming through. He says Hasbro has the money. Let's hope Facebook doesn't flag this comment. Yeah, I hope not either, man. There, I'm telling you, man, there's a conspiracy against you, Anthony. Yeah, Hasbro definitely has the money, and one of the things that we have been saying is that it's time to stop being cheap when it comes to Power Rangers, right? If you're investing $500 million in the brand of Power Rangers, that means that you think that Power Rangers is clearly worth more than that, and you want it to be worth more than that. And by making it more than that, you got to push the envelope, especially when it comes to financially. You can't just kind of sit on the sidelines and just throw a petty, $20 million here for an entire season sort of thing. I mean, listen, it's provided great content for Beast Morphers last year. I would like to see what the budget might be for Dino Fury this year. If anybody can certainly find out, I would be really fascinated to learn that. Because the fact that we are getting a lot more original footage and especially just special effects for the Zords, it does feel like Hasbro is at least putting their money where their mouth is and is creating new original content. So that's definitely something you got to do. Something you definitely got to do. B plus says happy early birthday, Daddy Perez. Yeah, my birthday is December 30th. So yeah, thank you for the very early birthday wishes. S. Karoma, yeah, PTSD episode for Ion. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's one of those things I literally didn't mention that or catch on to that until I just mentioned it a couple of minutes ago, S. Karoma. But yeah, it is very much a case of PTSD for both Ion and Zato and how they're certainly handling it. B plus says Tessa and Hunter are hot here. I will say this. I really enjoyed. I thought just the design as far as like costume design this week for our characters looked great. I thought Tessa's costume with the green tied up shirt. I thought she had a great costume on here this week. Let's see here. Trent says, the budget is probably the same as Beast Morphers. They still use the same amount of Sentai footage where they can, but sure, a lot more original footage. Yeah, and I think I want to say first season of Beast Morphers was 20 million. I want to say the second season of Beast Morphers was 22 million, according to a Twitter user last year that kind of broke it down. I can't remember who did the math on that or found out those numbers, but I am curious if they maybe bumped it up again to like 24 million or something like that. I would be kind of curious to see. Um, Jordan says, how do you feel about the Rangers fighting Boom Tower and the whole explosion gas thing? Look, the gas explosion itself was a little bit underwhelming for me. Don't get me wrong, it was great to see a morphine sequence, the explosions back, right? Not just the color, but the actual explosions back, to really add to the whole invisible gas that's in the area sort of thing. Like if you're picking up on it, guys, just don't do it anymore. But they kept doing it and they kept paying for it. But I knew that Boom Tower was certainly going to return at some point in time because in Real Soldier, Homeboy literally comes back like 2 or 3 times in Real Soldier, and they continue to utilize him. I thought it was cool that they used the monster that brought back Zed in this episode to at least bring Boom Tower back. The battle was pretty cool, but the idea of the whole explosion gas thing was a little cringy to me. I could be honest with you, but I didn't mind Boom Tower certainly being back, but I expected them to easily dispatch of this guy once they wind up actually finding out what was going to happen. So wouldn't be surprised if Boom Tower comes back again, or even that pirate looking dude, the guy in white that we saw, I think, facing off against our Rangers when Ion wind up coming on board. Was it Shipwreck or Wreck Ship or something like that? I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back too, because I think they utilized him in a couple of episodes in Real Soldier. But we'll see what happens. But guys, listen, thank you very much, each and every one of you, for certainly your thoughts on this week's episode of Beast Morphers. So that will, in fact, go ahead and round up our review and discussion of this penultimate episode of Dino Fury, as we have the season finale headed our way next week. And then, of course, I think after that might be the Christmas episode. I'm not sure what the order is. I'm assuming they're going to be doing the Christmas episode after the finale. Which would make sense to me. But so we'll see, guys. We'll definitely see. But I am looking forward to going ahead and discussing the finale with you guys next weekend. So again, Dino Fury Season 1 is completely up on Netflix. If you want to go ahead and check out the episode early, you certainly can. You don't have to wait around for Nickelodeon to certainly talk about it, but we will be talking about it once Nickelodeon drops the episode next weekend. But other than that, guys, that does it for our Dino Fury discussion today. Adrian Perez says, what 4 Sentai characters would you invite to a party, Adam? I would definitely invite Jurin, because the man knows how to party. Definitely Jurin from Zenkaiger. I'm trying to think of like some of the other Sentai seasons that I've watched. I would even probably bring in the Red from Ninja. Damn it, what was his name again? Hold on, let me pull it up here. Takaharu. I would definitely bring him. Definitely the Red Ranger from Ninja. He definitely seemed fun to me. So him, Jurin. I would probably even bring. Give me. Ooh. Hold on a second. I got some other ones here I'm trying to think of right now. So definitely Taka from Ninja. Definitely Jurin from Zenkaiger. I would probably even invite a him from Gokaiger. Oh, there's somebody from Karamager and Shiguru from Karamager. I might even bring Shiguru and Cena. I know you said 4, but I probably would go with 5 there. So that'd probably be my 5 that I would bring. B Plus says, I really enjoyed the Xmas episode this season. Big improvement over the past seasons, in my opinion. I'll definitely have to check it out. I definitely won't slack on it. I'll definitely go ahead and check it out for sure. Trent says, who do you think was better, Adam? Escape or Roxy? Enter or Blaze? Enter for sure. Oh my God. I can't pick between Escape or Roxy. I honestly can't. I think they are on par. I honestly do think that they're on par with each other. In regards to like Escape was incredible. I mean, beautiful, dangerous. I loved her fights all the time in Go Busters. I truly did. But Roxy just had the sass. She was incredible. The stuff that they did with her and Ravi, I thought was absolutely great. You know, for a Power Rangers show, Roxy was handled incredibly well. So I think they're equal. I think they're honestly equal. And people ask me all the time, like, Adam, Beast Morphers or Go Busters? That's a really difficult one for me because I love both seasons. I usually do give Go Busters just the edge. Because I'm such a big fan of them, and it's hard for me to have to want to pick. But I think Escape and Roxy were handled extremely well in both cases. I mean, just based off of the idea that like it's Power Rangers, so we just expect them to not handle some of these characters well. But I thought for season 1 of Beast Morphers, at least when it comes to Roxy, they knocked it out of the park. So yeah. Blossom says Juru is one of my guest choices, dude. As for Toma, sure he ain't from Sentai, but he's dessert. Oh my God, Blossom. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic today as we continue along with some, I will jump from the Power Ranger news just here a little bit because while it is Power Ranger esque, it's not really in that universe. And that is Legend of the White Dragon, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, JDF has been pushing this movie for quite some time. We know that this movie's been in development. It's actually had two Kickstarters to go ahead and actually reach its fund, its development. And I believe a couple of months back, they actually even released brand new photos of Legend of the White Dragon of JDF in his costume, just looking incredible, if you ask me. If you guys don't remember some of the images that came out of it, let me see if I can go ahead and remind you guys of how badass this freaking costume actually looks. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up these two images for you because Legends of the White Dragon will be here certainly before we know it. That's JDF with a great haircut, looking badass in this photo, along with him in the costume. So big things are definitely happening. Again, today, I believe they are expected to go ahead and drop a brand new trailer for us, hopefully with an official release date for us. But the reason why we're talking about it here this week is because the cast for this movie continues to grow, ladies and gentlemen. And we do have some classic Rangers that are certainly coming back, like Jason Fount. I believe Sierra Hanna might even be in this particular movie that he's putting together as JDF winds up teaming up with Bat in the Sun, who's done some remarkable work over the years. I mean, they probably some of the most fun YouTube videos, costume designs, content creators out there, and them and JDF have been tag teaming for quite some time. I think he's done some stuff as the White Ranger against Scorpion, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he also did some Green Ranger stuff for them as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what Legends of the White Dragon is certainly going to hold for us. But it's in the news this week because we've got some even bigger casting announcements that have officially come out for this particular series or this particular movie itself. None other, if you guys are big Arrowverse fans, none other than David Ramsey himself from Arrow, who plays John Diggle. They've also managed to go ahead and bring back another Power Ranger vet, and Cerina Vincent from Lost Galaxy. She's back. She's been in a number of movies over the years too. Maybe not anything super big, but she definitely continues to have her acting career and things like that. But Cerina Vincent's here. And of course, I don't think any of us did not expect this, but Jenna Frank joins the cast as well as JDF gets his daughter in there also. And who knows, maybe a potential Power Ranger at some point in time in the future. I know JDF has always kind of pushed for that, even though, listen, I think he probably wants Jenna to also be her own person, if that's a path that she wants to go. I personally think it would be really cool, like a second generation actor having their being a part of the Power Ranger lore in the way that JDF certainly is. I would love to see Jenna Frank as a Ranger in some capacity, whether that be for future kid show, future Jonathan Entwistle series on Netflix, whatever the case may be. But the really two big names that wind up getting dropped here this week, Cerina Vincent, and for me, as a big Arrowverse fan, I think it's a huge win for Legends of the White Dragon here to pick up David Ramsey. If you guys have followed the Arrowverse at all, Arrow, any of the other shows that David Ramsey has popped up on, he's done a couple cameos as of last season, popping up on Batwoman, Superman and Lois, The Flash, and things like that. He carries some weights. And I think for me, the reveal of this, I think is brilliant too on JDF's part, because now not only are you reaching out to Power Ranger fans, but you're now also crossing genres and tapping into a whole nother fan base that may not necessarily be Power Ranger fans, but if they are Arrowverse fans and are big fans of David Ramsey, it's hard to imagine them not being interested in checking out what David Ramsey is certainly going to be doing in this particular movie. So brilliant decision by JDF. I mean, David Ramsey, such a legit actor. I love the way that he handles himself and how he carries himself, always on screen. I mean, he's had some great emotional moments, some great uplifting moments with some of our heroes, giving advice to them after all the stuff that he's he's been through in his Arrowverse career. I think David Ramsey is a huge win for Legend of the White Dragon. But let's go ahead and dive into this a little bit, because this was actually brought up over on comicbook.com that certainly talked about this first and foremost. It says Legend of the White Dragon isn't too far off now. We got some exciting casting news for the anticipated project. Joining the cast are David Ramsey, Cerina Vincent, and Jenna Frank, and they will be playing the roles of Mayor Trevor Stearns, Rebecca Reed, and Ashley Reed, respectively. So it seems as though Jenna Frank and Cerina Vincent, it seems as though that's maybe a mother and daughter sort of combination. In the project, Jason David Frank plays Eric Reed, who is attempting to regain the power of the White Dragon to save the world from Dragon Prime. And Vincent will play his wife in the film, while Jenna will play the role of his daughter. I mean, how easy is that of a role for Jenna Frank to go ahead and tackle? Just be yourself, son. Just be yourself, daughter. Okay? You don't got to do anything different. Just treat me like your dad. So I absolutely love that. But David Ramsey did have some words. He says, everyone knows that JDF has been holding down the superhero, martial arts, and all-around badassery space for years. So when he hit me up to be a part of what he and Bat and the Sun were doing, I couldn't resist. We've talked about working together for some time, and this was 100% the right time and the right project. It's the perfect bending universe, and I can't wait for every fan of this genre and even newcomers to watch and enjoy. We've got surprises. It's something special. I mean, look, even David Ramsey knows the weight that the name of JDF certainly carries. I don't know if David Ramsey was a big Power Ranger fan growing up himself, but the fact that he understands just the role that JDF plays when it comes to that space. I mean, look, superhero, martial arts, all around badassery space for years. The fact that he understands that, I love the fact that he made this decision to go ahead and actually work alongside with him. And he mentions just the thing that we just talked about in here, right? Even the newcomers to watch and enjoy. Bringing in David Ramsey opens up a whole new eyes that maybe didn't know what JDF had been up to since his time in Power Rangers, right? Maybe they hadn't really followed his career after MMPR and all the other series that he was certainly a part of. But now that you know David Ramsey is going to be teaming up with him for this type of movie, and it kind of feels like a Power Ranger-esque type of thing, I do think this is definitely going to bring in some newcomers and a great addition to the cast. Who else do we have here saying? This might be Cerina talking. Yes, this is Cerina. She says, I am beyond thrilled to be a part of the badass universe that is Legend of the White Dragon. First, I'm a big fan of the father-son filmmaking team, Bat and the Sun. Aaron and Sean and their whole crew are really impressive. And as a former Yellow Ranger, to work with Jason David Frank, total dream. Yeah, especially because the fact that, yeah, they were definitely on two completely different seasons. They probably didn't mingle at all during that time period. Would not surprise me though if maybe they've bumped into each other over at conventions over the years, have kept in contact in some way or another, but to actually work with each other, I think that's pretty brilliant. She says, Jason is extraordinary in this film. People will be blown away. It was really special to bring his on-screen family to life. We had really tender moments. Hoping all my Ranger fans will love it as much as I did. Got to play with his talented, beautiful daughter, Jenna. And of course, Font is my favorite too. Can't wait for the world to see this. It's going to be epic and will make a lot of fans very happy. I continue to get more and more hyped for this, guys. I truly do. I know that there definitely are some haters out there when it comes to JDF, but I truly do appreciate everything that this man has done for the franchise and helping keeping it afloat, helping keeping it relevant over the past 28 years, and for him to continue to push the envelope for himself as an actor, and continue to focus on his martial arts and things like that. Bringing in former Power Ranger actors too really does go a long way. So I cannot wait to see what he does here. So I'm assuming the two men on the left are the Bat and Son, father and son combo that's Cerina was talking about. And of course, you got JDF, Jenna, and Cerina herself. Some character descriptions in here for you guys. For David Ramsey, for Mayor Trevor Stearns, it says, after the White Dragon's devastating battle against Ashtiger, Mayor Trevor Stearns has taken office with the promise to protect Virtuo City. making sure such a tragedy never happens again, and vowing to make the White Ranger pay for his crimes. The mayor plays an important role, not just in the film, but in the larger story we hope to explore in future films as well. So this definitely doesn't seem like a one-off. As long as it's people are watching it and it gains some good praise, some good viewership, it seems as though they're probably going to be having a second one, or hopefully some future films in going forward. But this seems right up David Ramsey's uh, right up his alley. I mean, the guy looks like a mayor just in this photo alone. Super important guy for sure. But I love the idea that he's kind of that pushback, right? The person that wants to protect the city, doesn't like what maybe the White Dragon and the danger and the violence that certainly comes with it when it comes to his city. And it feels very much almost like any cop or commissioner that has superheroes in their team, in their town, right? Always against the idea of vigilantes, people using powers without being responsible for what they're doing, sort of thing, right? It feels very much like right up David Ramsey's alley. So I can't wait to see what he does as Mayor Trevor Stearns, and hopefully he has more than just one scene here. Jenna Frank, it says Eric Reed's daughter, his heart, his motivation for returning to the city that cast him out, and the reason he takes up the mantle of the White Dragon once again. Having Jenna Frank in the role added such a real and wonderful chemistry, giving both actors the opportunity to draw from their real life daughter and father closeness, which I think really goes a long way. Because look, honestly, look, I love you, JDF, but he's maybe not necessarily been the best actor in the world. There's some overacting from time to time. But I think if anytime that you can get people around you that you can trust, that you're close to, especially that's family, that can really allow you to tap into just a different level of yourself that you're not able to in other performances. I'm really looking forward to seeing what him and his daughter's situation and the chemistry is really going to be like in this movie. I do think that people have been talking highly about JDF in here, so I am expecting him to really bring it and really showcase what he can certainly do. And of course, Cerina, Vincent, Eric Reed's wife, after her husband disappeared, Rebecca held the Reed family together, staying strong for her daughter and never giving up on the possibility of Eric's return, even after 3 long years. Having worked together in the past, Cerina and Jason already had a great on-screen chemistry, which helped to create a really emotional moment that ties the film together. What else did they work on together in the past? I'm curious. If you guys are familiar, I thought this might have been their first time working together, but clearly not. I would be interested to see what their dynamic is going to be like. I mean, the idea that her husband's disappeared for 3 years and now he comes back into her life. Have they had communication over that time? Is there any animosity from Rebecca for the fact that Eric Reed's been gone for such a long time, or is she going to welcome him back with open arms? So I'm really fascinated. Even Sierra Hannah says she's playing Vanessa Katao. Vanessa is Jai Katao's only love. She is the whole world and ultimately his motivation for vengeance when he becomes Dragon Prime. Oh, so Sierra Hannah is connected to the villain of this movie. This is Sierra's second collaboration with Bat in the Sun and brought such a genuine charm to the character, making you love her immediately. The role called for someone who makes an impact, and Sierra delivered, making it easy to understand why Jai becomes the evil Dragon Prime. So yeah, man, I cannot wait. Hopefully we'll get ourselves a trailer here later on today, and when it drops, we'll probably be posting it over on our Twitter page. So definitely go ahead and definitely check it out whenever you get the opportunity to do so. So big things, man. Big things are definitely happening when it comes to Legends of the White Dragon. I'm so glad that JDF and Bat in the Sun are finally getting this off the ground. I'm sure they probably had some hiccups along the way, whether that was copyright or maybe the suits being too Power Ranger like. Too many similarities. I feel like that's definitely a hump that they've had to overcome, especially with even having to do the second Kickstarter to really gain the momentum that they need. I mean, I remember seeing JDF on the news promoting this movie. Also, I mean, they really went out of their way to try and make this happen. So, if you are big JDF fans, heck, maybe if you're not, but you're a big David Ramsey fan, definitely go ahead and show some support to Legends of the White Dragon and certainly check it out because I think they've done a great job so far with the casting choices. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Legend of the White Dragon? Are you guys pumped for this? I'm really excited to go ahead and see what they have in store, but definitely go ahead and let me know your levels of excitement or not excitement for this movie. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Let's see here. I will take some comments and see what you guys are talking about. He says, I don't recall, but is it coming to YouTube or streaming or even the Bat in the Sun website? I believe it might be the YouTube page. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping when we get the trailer, there's maybe a little bit of clarity towards the end of the trailer, like where we can find it, when it's going to be released. But I'm kind of on the impression that it's coming to YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, maybe on the Bat in the Sun YouTube page for all we know. Yes, Sierra Vincent. It says had her own show on Disney Channel called Stuck in the Middle. Yeah, I believe the website did mention that she most notably known for that, along with Lost Galaxy. I did go ahead and do her look in her IMBD page. I did see her like in one episodes here and there of stuff over the years, but I didn't know she had such a role in Stuck in the Middle. So I think that's cool that she had her own show. So yeah, definitely. Adam Perez says, "Do you think JDF is pushing fame onto Jenna like Will Smith and Jaden?" No, I wouldn't compare the two. I think maybe Will Smith and Jada maybe a little bit more. I think Jenna probably kind of wants to do her own thing. I think maybe JDF is open to the idea of her becoming a future Power Ranger, but I don't necessarily know if there's any internal pressure from her. But who knows? I mean, your dad's JDF, right? I mean, there certainly could be. Edward Sanchez Production says, "I'm so looking forward to watching The Legend of the White Dragon." Me too. Me too. Jordan says the movie comes out in August, so we still got some ways to go, like 8 months away. If that's the case, if that really holds up, yeah, if that really holds up, that's actually quite some time away. But I'm still gonna be hyped for it either. JB says, "What says? Oh shit, Maya. She has been in another big movie, not another teen movie. Yeah, that's another one of the movies that she's definitely been on top of for sure." Datilla says, "Adam, did you know JDF called out CM Punk a few years ago?" Yeah, I do. I remember they had a well, they see. I don't want to say it was like a rivalry or anything, but I remember he was calling him out. It was the idea that CM Punk was trying to get into MMA and he didn't really have any amateur fights under his belt, but the UFC gave him the opportunity immediately to be like on his first match on a UFC card. Gave him clearly the time to go ahead and train and things like that for CM Punk. But that's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? And I remember JDF calling out CM Punk, trying to get that fight. Like, hey, if this is CM Punk's first try, like I can't remember if JDF has had any pro MMA fights. I know he's had some amateur MMA fights. Decent record, if I'm not mistaken. Also, for me, it would have lined up pretty well if you ask me. JDF against CM Punk, just based off of the minimum experience that JDF had in the ring. I mean, granted, he had experience in the octagon regardless, but I don't believe there were big pro fights. I think there were amateur fights. So I was really hoping that that Dana White would have picked up on that opportunity, but maybe it was a little bit too gimmicky for Dana. The idea of like the best in the world wrestler, CM Punk, against the Green White Ranger from Power Rangers, JDF. I mean, I feel like the storyline could have honestly written itself. But unfortunately, it never happened. I remember there was some animosity between the two. I believe, I can't remember if they ever confronted each other over at a convention or JDF tried to reach out to CM Punk and nothing ever came of it, sort of thing. But yeah, I do remember it. I do remember it for sure. It was pretty entertaining. JB says, after Power Rangers, it was so odd seeing Cerina's boobs in a movie. I didn't even know that she flashed them. I might have to go back and watch just for that scene. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even know that. Didn't I even know that? B plus says this will be the second time a Power Ranger plays the wife or love interest of JDF. Allison Kipperman, aka Taylor on Wild Force, played his love interest in a short runner series called Undressed. Oh, hey, great information, B plus. I had no idea about that, so thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Datilla said definitely AJ Punk never gave him the time of day though. Yeah, which I don't understand why. I don't understand why. I really don't. It's not like he's not too big for you, CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? Like your name carries about the same amount of weight when it comes to JDF, if you ask me. So to kind of not even get back to him, I would have thought it would have been a big opportunity and a big payday. But I certainly guess not. I definitely would have still given it to JDF though. B plus says I remember Blake Foster thanking JDF for getting him into the UFC or whatever his match was. Yeah, I don't believe it was with UFC, but I didn't know that JDF had any pull in regards to that, of at least like pulling some strings and getting him into a match or whatnot. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, guys. But let us know your thoughts when it comes to Legends of the White Dragon. How excited are you for David Ramsey to be in here, for Cerina Vincent, even for Jenna Frank? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, let's see here. What's the next topic we're going to get into? A couple months ago, guys, it's actually might have been last year, if I'm not mistaken. We did a preview and a talk about the idea of Power Rangers and New Era teaming up. We don't really talk too much about collaborations when it comes to clothing lines, but anytime it looks great, we got to talk about it. And I remember we talked about, what's funny? What's funny is I remember thinking to myself, I knew we talked about New Era Power Ranger hats before in the past. And when I went and looked up the thumbnail for that week that we talked about the New Era caps, it's the same week that we talked about Legends of the White Dragon, which I thought was pretty funny that New Era and Legends of the White Dragon again have news releasing on the same week. I'm wondering what's going on there. But guys, if you were big fans of the New Era Power Ranger caps, I don't know if you guys even purchased any yourself, but if you were, there's more. There's more, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a big hat fan. I truly do. I love a great snapback or at least a fitted cap from time to time. Clearly, with the hair that I have currently right now, no cap is going on this head right now. But in the past, as of like 2 years ago, I was a really big fan of hats. Still don't mind collecting them because I think eventually this will come down. This will be cut at some point in time. But Power Rangers and New Era are teaming up once again, and we've got ourselves new hats for you guys to certainly go ahead and explore. So let's see if we can go ahead and bring this up so you guys can go ahead and get well, let me go ahead and make sure I'm on the correct page here. There we go. All right, let me go ahead and bring this up here. So if you guys want to add to your collection, wear some Power Ranger swag, as you guys see that we're doing so around here. My Loot Crate Power Ranger casual wear. Took like 6-8 months to come through the mail, but finally got it. Don't mind rocking some Power Ranger attire from time to time. So if you want to go ahead and deck yourself out in some Power Ranger swag, here's some more Power Ranger hats and caps for you guys to certainly go ahead and check out. Let me go ahead and see if I can bring some of these up. We'll bring up the new ones real quick so you guys can certainly see. But I absolutely love this. Is a cool one. You got the lightning bolt coming from the top, all the different colors and things like that. Some different angles for you guys. The back of it looks like they have even the power coins there also on the hat. So not a bad one. Not a bad one. Probably not my favorite of what we got so far. Here's a green Dragon Zord one for you guys also. If this one is a fitted cap, you got the green flames at the bottom, the great gold power coin on the front. I actually kind of dig that. It's subtle enough, but I really love the design of the flames on there too. Looks like you got a little badge there for the Dragon Zord as well. Yeah, this is probably one I would definitely rock for sure. Well, maybe a little bit pricey, 41 bucks, but you know what? They're exclusive. They're exclusive. You probably aren't going to be able to find a lot of these anywhere. This is one that really jumps out to me. I really dig this one also. This is the splatter one. This is just the lightning bolt, the classic lightning bolt, but just with the splatter paint design. And you can even see another badge. Looks like the Megazord on the side of it as well. Is there anything on the back? Oh, this is a snapback, so it's not fitted. I don't know how I'm feeling about the bright ass yellow. But you even have the bill underneath it as yellow too. Not too bad of the design. Not too bad of the design. I kind of dig that one also. What other ones that we got? This one's a little bit boring. Maybe you want something that's not as doesn't jump out as much to you. This is just power coins and stuff over the on the top of it in gray, but that's a fitted hat one too. Yeah, they could have thrown that design out if you ask me. What else we got here? Ooh, Angel Grove hat. Ernie's Juice Bar, or at least the youth center here. Gym and Juice Bar. Yo, shout out to Ernie. Rest in peace, honestly. But that's cool. I'm not a big fan of the netted ones. I'm really not. But I mean, look, it is the youth center. It feels very much like if we're going back Angel Grove Youth Center from back in the 90s. I feel like the trucker hat, the with the nets in the back, that feels very sort of 90s design to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anybody that still rocks hats like that. So oh yeah, and the Mighty Morphin on the back. So yeah, if you want a little bit more nostalgia for sure, this is definitely the hat for you there. What else we got? A couple other ones. So this was So we already saw this in snapback, but they do offer it in fitted too. So if you just want something that's just going to fit onto your head, don't have to worry about snapping it. That's cool that they actually made a second option for you. They must have thought that that was going to be a pretty popular one. This one jumps out to me though. The Lord Zed Power Ranger fitted cap, as you get the Z symbol on the top. Dude, that's fire. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. 41.99. Different sizes. If you've got a big head, a small head, they come in all sizes. So don't worry, your dome will fit inside of it. But I love this one. The red and the black just really do pop out to me, and you get to see the Lord Zed badge on the side, or the patch on the side. I dig this one. I would definitely rock this one. This would be one that I would absolutely love to have, along with probably the splatter one and the Green Ranger Gold one. This is probably one of my other favorites too, for sure. So those are the three that really jump out to me. But some great designs overall, man. Some really great designs. And then of course they still have the classic stuff that they released previously for you guys to go ahead and check out. That Yellow Ranger fitted cap. Yeah, it's all there for you guys. So yeah, some brand new exclusive new era and Power Ranger hats. And I continue to love the collaboration, man. I truly do. Anytime that Power Rangers wants to really start putting out more stuff. And again, a lot of MMPR stuff, right? Like this is the stuff that people know, that people recognize. We talk about all the time. I know a lot of people that are tired of MMPR being everywhere, but MMPR is even in the casual wear and just the wardrobe that's out there also, because it continues to be that prevalent in our world today. And it just goes to show you just the type of imprint that Power Rangers has definitely left on society over the years. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. I think that continues to show you just the impact that it continues to have after all these years. So they definitely did something right. So absolutely love it, guys. But let me know what you guys think of the new era Power Ranger hats. And then we'll wrap up the Power Rangers segment of this episode with a little bit of a preview in regards to the Eltarian War, as we wind up getting a preview here. This comes from rangercommand.com. Getting to see the cover of Mighty Morphin issue number 14. Mr. Freeze, is that you? Is that you, Mr. Freeze? Victor, are you under there? I love this design, though. I truly do. I have no idea what the hell is going on here. But it looks as though Zordon is maybe stepping up to get into battle himself. You can't have an Eltarian war without Zordon maybe getting his hands a little bit dirty in here. So it seems as though somebody has created like a containment armor for him to actually get in a semi-physical form and utilize a body mode at some particular point in time. But this looks badass. I don't know if Promethea created this, if Grace Sterling created for this for him, or if this is something that the Eltarians created or Billy helped alongside with it. Who certainly knows? But the cover itself looks badass. So yeah, I definitely need to go ahead and get back into my Power Ranger comic books. But let's go ahead and dive into this, because this is in fact a preview for issue number 14, as you get to see some brand new images there as well. And again, this is from rangercommand.com. So let's go ahead and talk about this. It says, discover the dangerous stakes of the Eltarian War this December. It says, with the destruction of Zordon's tube, the Mighty Morphin team seeks new allies to help them in the Eltarian War. But with Lord Zed at their back and the Eltarian Supreme Leader gathering his forces to launch a massive attack on the Earth, can the Rangers survive being surrounded on all sides? That's pretty freaking terrifying, to have Lord Zed on one side, the Eltarians on the other side, which again, it just goes to show you just how disconnected I am from the comic books these days. Why are the Eltarians even trying to face off against a massive attack on Earth? Like, I literally just thought the last time I checked, or last issue that I wind up reading, one of like Zordon's oldest friends came back from Eltarian to like greet him and see what was going on with him and things like that. So I don't know where things went sideways, but I definitely need to go ahead and catch up. But it definitely seems as though a big war is definitely headed to Earth. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how it tackles that. So yeah, these are some of the preview images that we wind up having also. So I hope you guys are definitely enjoying those. Let's see here. It does say, when is the release date for this issue? December 8th. So this week, guys, this upcoming Wednesday, you can go ahead, new comic book day. This Wednesday, December 8th, Mighty Morphin issue number 14 will be made available. I love this. I love the costume. I love the cover. My mind just immediately goes to Mr. Freeze, though, when I read it, when I watch it. But I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. Blossom says Zordon does look like Mr. Freeze. He does. It's a pretty badass costume, though. It's a pretty badass costume. All right. And with that out of the way, guys, we will go ahead and transition over to some tokusatsu news for you guys today. We got a Kamen Rider news, and then of course we got some Donbrothers information for you guys today. When it comes to Kamen Rider, they actually have a new movie that's going to be dropping, Kamen Rider Beyond Generations. We haven't really highlighted it much, guys, honestly, because of the fact that it does contain Kamen Rider Revice, and you guys know how I feel about Revice and all the antics that are happening over on the set of Revice, some of the lawsuits that are happening when it comes to Toei due to Revice. So there definitely seems to be a lot of rotten eggs in regards to just that set production and maybe just the company in general. So we haven't really talked about it. I know they've released maybe a trailer or two in regards to the upcoming Kamen Rider movie. But the reason why I wanted to talk about it today, the Beyond Generations, isn't so much for Revice, but it's the idea of revisiting a classic Kamen Rider. And I just thought this was a really cool story that I had no idea about upon discovering this. But this comes to us from Tokusatsu Network, guys. Tokusatsu Network says, Maito Fujioka to portray Takeshi Hongo in Kamen Rider Beyond Generations. Now, Takeshi Hongo, I believe, is the original Kamen Rider from like the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And the idea here, why we wanted to highlight it, is because Maito Fujioka is actually the son, if I'm not mistaken, the son of the original Kamen Rider, who's now getting to play the role that his father once did back in the 70s. Something just really cool about everything coming full circle just gave me goosebumps thinking about this particular story. So let's go ahead and dive into this just a little bit, because I thought this was actually a pretty interesting thing that was happening when it comes to this movie. But that's father and son there. It says the son of the first Kamen Rider, Hiroshi Fujioka, will take the role his father originated in the upcoming Kamen Rider Winter movie. Toei has announced that Fujioka, the son of the original Kamen Rider, will play the role of Takeshi Hongo. The movie is actually due out next month. The setting of the movie is composed of 3 different eras: 1971, during the origin of Kamen Rider number 1; in the present, alongside the cast of Revice, along with Saber; and 2071, 100 years after the birth of Kamen Rider. So we're what, 50 years as of right now. So they're jumping 50 years into the future and exploring another future Kamen Rider 50 years later, which I think is so cool. Fujioka can be seen sporting the same blue blazer and tie that his father wore in the first several episodes of the series, rocking his father's gear, man. He even got the gloves on and everything. That portion of the movie set in 1971 will cover the day that Takeshi Hongo was operated on by Shocker to become the first Kamen Rider, as sort of another episode. Mito states that he felt he had to take on the role, as it was the role that his father, Hiroshi, originated, and received advice on how to play the character from him directly, and rewatched the original series. When the elder Fujioka came to set to watch his son perform, the set on site cheered enthusiastically for both generations who were working to bring the character of Takeshi Hongo to life. And then I think his son actually did go ahead and actually talk a little bit about it. He says you can see him speak about taking on the role, as well as catch a glimpse of his recreation of the original Kamen Rider transformation pose in the video. Kamen Rider Beyond Generations will be released on December 17th across Japan. Let's see here. Oh, is that him on set? Yeah, that looks like that's him on set. This is just something really cool. Like I'm a sucker for father and son sort of moments. And when you have a franchise that's as big as this is, and you are getting to have one generation really reprise the role of the former generation, stepping into his father's shoes, I gotta think his dad is as proud as they come. You know what I mean? I gotta think that that's one hell of a moment for his father to be able to recreate such a big moment in his life, for his son to now be able to kind of take that up for himself. I mean, granted, I don't know how big of a role this is going to be, but that's got to be just an incredible moment in general for him and his family and whatnot. So I think that's just so cool that they even are pulling this off, and they even went ahead and posted some pictures here for you guys to see. Again, this is the original Kamen Rider's son here, reprising the role that his father made famous for this upcoming Kamen Rider Generations movie. That's such a cool shot. That's a really cool shot. Whether or not, Mito Fujioka will have a bigger role in Kamen Rider going forward after playing this particular role. I don't know if he's a big actor himself, or if this is something that he's just doing because he wants to pay honor and homage to his dad. But again, it is just a really great story of just things coming full circle from generation to next generation. So I thought that was pretty cool to kind of share with you guys. And I would love to know some of your guys' thoughts in regards to that as well. Probably not a movie that I'm going to watch again. Unfortunately, the stench of Revice kind of ruins this Beyond Generations movie for me. But I would love to see at least the moments here that Mito Fujioka is going to go ahead and present as the original Kamen Rider once again. So cool stuff, man. Just cool stuff. Gives me goosebumps thinking about it myself. And I think me also being a father, not to say like, my son, I'm going to pass down A+ more phenomenal to you, so when you become 20 something, you can take over this channel. I don't know it's going to be like that, but father and son stuff does kind of choke me up. It's just one of those things, guys. Like, if I could be honest, I just don't think we see enough father and son stuff on television. I think just for us men in general, I think we need to see like just really great role models and fathers and son being put into great positions and just just really uplift men, because I do feel like sometimes there is that stigma of guys not being able to show emotions, or we got to be this hard ass sort of thing, right? But I just think when it comes to father and son moments, I think those are just so extremely important to raising a child and raising a family, and just really great not only for the environment but also just the culture and society in general to just have really strong father-son relationships these days. So anytime I get the opportunity to see something like this, that just goes to show a really great side of that combination and chemistry between fathers and sons, I gotta highlight it. I certainly do. So I love this. I'm really looking forward to seeing this, and I'm pretty sure he's definitely made his father extremely proud. I mean, even the fact that the crew gave them a round of applause for seeing two generations representing the same character gives me goosebumps to certainly think about. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts in regards to this, because I think it's pretty badass. If you ask me, I think it's pretty damn cool. Let's see here. I believe Blossom says, Beyond Generations, does this mean I'll be able to see my Toma again? Yes. I'm assuming Toma will probably be in this film. They've got Revice and Saber in here as the current generations of Kamen Rider for you guys. Blossom says the story for the movie is Trey compelling. It sounds pretty good. I mean, from things that I've seen so far, I definitely have. From things that I've read, at least in regards to what the plot and things like that synopsis are, it definitely looks pretty good. Enrique says, are their past common writers going to be in Beyond Generation along with the return of Saber and the Swords of Logo? From just what I've been able to see, it just seems the original, the current generation, and the future generation. So I'm assuming we're going to be seeing a brand new common writer from 50 years into the future. So I will be interested to see. I think they probably, in maybe some of the trailers, they might have already revealed what that future common writer is going to look like, but I haven't had the opportunity to watch the trailers myself fully. But yeah, outside of those common writers, I don't know if there's going to be any other ones represented in here or not. I don't want to give you that incorrect information, but always worth a Google search, man. Always worth a Google search to make sure. And last but not least, guys, to go ahead and wrap up this story before we get into your live viewer questions, we've got more Don brother rumors, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. More rumors certainly headed your guys' way. I thought I actually pulled this up already, but I guess I didn't. So I should probably load this real quick. Give me 1 second here, guys. Get the new rumors posted. There we go. There we go. So more rumors from Don Brothers are certainly coming out. This is more, this is another rumor sort of slash grain of salt. But it says the Don Brothers designs are actually not too far out there, because over the past couple of weeks, ever since we got the descriptions that were coming out, there were some people over on Twitter that were kind of putting together their own designs as to what they think the suit is certainly going to look like. And so this user is certainly letting us know the Don Brother designs are actually not too out there and are in fact surprisingly slender in nature. So I think they'll be accepted pretty easily. What is surprising to me, the original poster of this rumor, is the title logo for this show. Is it a video game? So I am kind of curious as to what that means. So first half of this, right? The designs are actually not too far out there. The real Matt Hunt over on Twitter. Shout out to the real Matt Hunt. I probably should go ahead and actually, you know what I should do? I'm going to go ahead and pull up his Twitter account here to give him the true push here. Momo Brother Drawing is another fan interpretation based off of leaks. And so with this rumor and then some of the leaks that we've had in over the past couple of weeks, especially with the silhouette, this is what they're saying, that the interpretations are not too far off, right? This is what we talked about, the idea that you've got the knot on top, you've got the peach leaf design as the visor, and the idea that it also has a silver or peach design on the forehead. So I'm curious if the peach is that big of a size. Maybe it's smaller than that. I'm not quite sure. But you can actually see it too. Whoever drew it drew over the silhouette that we wind up talking about from last week. So the fact that we get this fan interpretation of it, along with the rumor from the real Matt Hunt that the designs are actually not too far out there and, in fact, surprisingly slender in nature, it seems that they might be onto something with that design. Granted, just a grain of salt, just a grain of salt. Take it as you will. But this person even thinks that these suits will be accepted pretty easily. And so I'm really interested to kind of see. And here, I'll go ahead and pull up. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that for a moment. But that's from the real Matt Hunt. And here's another close up of the image if you guys wanted to see some of the fan interpretations of what the helmet could certainly look like. But I'm hoping that they look great. For me, I'm really looking forward to seeing what these suits are certainly going to look like, especially if you've got CGI animals. That certainly might be a part of it. Are the animals going to actually be in animal form in suits? Do the animals change into human form with suits? All of that is certainly still a mystery to me that I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing. But I'm hoping that there are definitely suits that people can definitely get on board with. You know what I mean? People can be pretty harsh upon first viewing. But the one thing that I will say is two things. One, I hate judging a costume fully until I've actually seen it in person. I wasn't the biggest fan of Two Kaiser's costume in Zenkaiger until I actually saw it in action. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, this dude just looks like Ronald McDonald. There's a bunch of yellow, gold, and red in there, just pop out and just bright. It's just in your face. And that was just from seeing some of the high definition pictures. I was a little bit iffy on the Two Kaiser costume when I first saw it and really wanted to hold my full judgment until I saw it in action. And when I saw it in action, I fell in love with it. It really did work for me and certainly popped for me. I really did love the attitude that has certainly brought. So when these images do drop, one, I'll try to avoid judging anything off of a leaked photo, okay? Because leaked photos sometimes look grainy, they never look too good, sort of thing. I usually will hold off full judgment until I see a high definition quality photo, like an official poster or an official release from the company showcasing what these costumes look like. I'll definitely go ahead and pick it apart and see what I like and don't like about it. But the full judgment for the costume for me comes when I actually see it in motion, in live action, when you've got natural light hitting it, movement hitting it. All of that really does go a long way, sort of thing. So I'll try not to be too harsh. But who knows? Maybe I'll fall in love with it. If this person thinks that it's going to be easily accepted, I know when it comes to costumes, people can be pretty vocal about how they feel about Super Sentai costumes from time to time. I mean, Tokuger, people shitted all over the Tokuger costume. Oh, this is too simple. Oh, this design is horrendous. And it turned out to be a great season. So trust me when I say costumes do not make this season, guys. And I think that's a very important lesson that we all should understand when Donbrothers is officially revealed to us. The suits do not make the season, but I'm sure they probably can make a season more enjoyable or not for some people. But so let's hold our judgment, because I feel like we have seen some simple costumes that have worked really great for Super Sentai seasons, some super elaborate costumes that maybe don't work necessarily so well for a season. So I'm really excited to kind of see what this is going to look like. And then the last part of that comment was in regards to what is surprising to me. The original poster of this rumor is the title logo for this show. Is it a video game? There's a part of me when I see Donbrothers, I can't lie, guys. When I see Donbrothers, for some reason I go to Super Mario Brothers. And I'm wondering, like, did they take the Super Mario Brothers logo design, but just make it for Avatar or Sentai Donbrothers? I don't know. When they say, is this a video game? I'm kind of curious. Is the logo like an 8-bit, 16-bit design for it? So yeah, when I think of Donbrothers, for some reason my head, and you mentioned video games, for some reason my head automatically goes to like a Super Mario themed logo. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what it's definitely going to look like. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to these grain of salt rumors. Again, some of this stuff could be incorrect when it actually is in fact revealed. Thus, grain of salt. So yeah, definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. JB says, what says, well, it don't look too bad if that's it. Yeah, again, this is just a fan interpretation of what it could possibly look like. But yeah, I don't think it looks too bad. I do believe the rumors were that it does have a silver peach on it. The peach, I'm sure some people will probably have fun with that in the fandom at some point in time, right? I feel like anytime anything's referred to a peach, usually referred to somebody's ass for the most part, right? So maybe Momo brother got that peach, you know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll see what kind of jokes wind up coming out of it. But trust me when I say I'm sure somebody will definitely have some fun with it. But I'm glad you don't mind it so far. JB says, well, we'll see if it actually comes out looking like that. Blossom says the drawing looks great, but I do think the suit would but I don't think the suit would look like that. Again, just fan interpretation. We'll see what the final result itself certainly looks like. But I'm with you, Blossom, when you say I can't wait to see Momotaro Sentai of the next year. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that theme plays into it. And again, we've said it around here before. If you've been watching our Zenkaiju reviews, I'm really hoping that because the Momotaro character, or at least the main lead for Donbrothers, will be revealed in Zenkaiju this upcoming January. So he will, in fact, be revealed. And I've been saying, because of the fact that he's going to be in Zenkaiju, I would love it if it's Kaido's mom that actually helps bring this character into the Zenkaiju world and presents and introduces us to him. And maybe she's also the one that wind up creating all the technology and the power-ups and the morphers and things like that this Momotaro themed character certainly might have. So that's a theory that we've been working on around here for quite some time, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I feel like, listen, some of our predictions, man, I'm not to say that I can see the future or that I'm a psychic or anything like that, but I feel like we might be onto something here. But keeping our fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your levels of anticipation for the Donbrothers. And with that, guys, that will in fact wrap up all of our main topics here for A+ More Phenomenal today. So as always, guys, thank you very much for certainly joining us, and of course giving your insight and your thoughts on all the topics here and really having us open up discussion for you guys. But with that out of the way, it is time for your live viewer questions. If you ever have a live viewer question, guys, certainly feel free to submit them over at any particular point in time to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. If you read a news article, if you see something on Twitter, if you watch an episode of something you want to talk about, definitely go ahead and submit your questions over. And we got a bunch of responses here this week. So let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? Jessica Friedman, would you like to see a team of Rangers have a former Ranger mentor like the Thunder Dino Rangers had Tommy? Absolutely. Yeah, give me another mentor. I wouldn't, one of the things that I've been saying is people have asked me, Adam, if you could have any other mentor from a past Power Ranger season return, who would it be? I would probably want RJ. I kind of want RJ back at some point in time. But yeah, I would be completely open to that. Let's see here. Hi, I am Jason. It's got a question. Thank you very much for your question. I think this might be your first time submitting some questions over. So let's see what we have here. What do you love about Power Rangers and Super Sentai? For me, when it comes to Power Rangers, I fell in love with Power Rangers because of its martial arts initially when I first watched it. I was a big fan of Jackie Chan when I was growing up as a kid, Bruce Lee. So the idea of integrating teenagers with attitudes, at that time I was about to be a teenager myself, or, getting to that age sort of thing. So to be able to kind of see somebody like my age potentially getting the opportunity to have superpowers and to be as badass as the Rangers were with all their martial arts move, I think any kid that watched Power Rangers back in the day just kind of fell in love with that mentality. But for me, I continue to love just the lessons that it continues to teach kids over the years. Its inclusiveness, right? The idea that it doesn't really make anybody feel sort of left out. It's something that's been very tradition for Power Rangers since the beginning. But I do continue to love the lessons that I know some people will push back about the idea of like, oh, the lessons of the day. And yeah, sometimes it can kind of hit us on the head, because we are older and still are Power Ranger fans, sort of thing. But I do think that they can certainly still continue to go a long way and have some really great lessons for us to for kids to learn, and honestly, times where adults need to remember some of these damn life lessons also. Okay, respect, accountability, humbling yourself, empathy, all that stuff that Power Rangers certainly teaches us, regardless of our age. Sometimes maybe it is a little bit too on the nose, but I think even as adults, sometimes we need refreshers in regards to some of these life lessons. So I do love Power Rangers for that. And I think also just the idea of me, especially at this age, now that I'm older, I appreciate seeing the effort that Power Rangers puts into trying to adapt around Sentai footage. I think as I get older and I see how the process is certainly made, I really respect the writers and the showrunners for the amount of time that they have to put into sometimes it being successful, sometimes not being successful in regards to an adaptation. But I love being able to see what the series was as Super Sentai and what it will be as Power Rangers, and to see just the differences, the similarities. I love all that about Power Rangers right now. And Super Sentai, Super Sentai for me, I always love Super Sentai because it does push the envelope a little bit. Even though I feel like it has gotten a lot more lighthearted over the past several years, I do think that when it comes to Super Sentai, they're really not afraid to tackle certain topics. So I've always loved the maturity of Super Sentai over something like a Power Rangers. As I get older, Super Sentai is something I continue to appreciate a little bit more and more because they have some really compelling storytelling when it comes to Super Sentai. Why do you think the franchise has still been going on since the original, and what are some limitations do you find when it comes to Power Rangers than Super Sentai, like old actors? Well, I will say this. I think the franchise continues to go on just because of the fact that this world continues to have kids. You know, I think Power Rangers is always going to be a franchise for children. So any generation that you have that's upcoming, you have a target audience. You know what I mean? To go ahead and be able to capture their imagination with, especially when it comes to toys. So I do think it's continued along for such a long time because of that, even though it has fallen off when it comes to its viewership. Some people in the world don't even know Power Rangers is still on television, sort of thing. So while its imprint has definitely dwindled over the years, it sticks around because it's got a great target audience in children. And if that's always your target audience, you can keep going on. I would think, especially if you continue to keep telling great lessons. So yeah. Um, what are some limitations you find when it comes to Power Rangers? Like old actors. It's not even so much the limitations. I mean, clearly there are limitations. For Power Rangers limitation alone, as much as we love Super Sentai and what it provides for Power Rangers, it is also a limitation for Power Rangers. I mean, it truly is. And it's not even the idea of bringing back old actors, because yeah, I think they should. That probably is a limit too. The idea of not bringing back more old actors, showcasing your care and your understanding of the impact that they've had on the franchise, I think really leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I do wish that Hasbro reached out more to their older cast, because I think there's so many great things that you could really do, right? Like we've got Catherine and Nakia, Pink and Yellow Rangers. They've got their own Power Ranger playback YouTube channel, right? Like Hasbro should be teaming up with them, right? They're pushing Power Ranger content and stuff. Going back to all the retro things and whatnot. Hasbro should be teaming up with some of these actors to go ahead and continue to push Power Rangers to the forefront. So I think, yeah, definitely their lack of inclusion of actors definitely hurts. But I think the true limitations for Power Rangers, unfortunately, and some people don't want to hear this, comes from the uses of Super Sentai footage and really a lack of marketing over the years, and the lack of putting your content out there where there are actual viewers. But hopefully a lot of that stuff is certainly changing. So we'll see if Power Rangers can reimagine and reboot itself to have that impact that it once did. If you could predict, what would your storyline be for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers? I was really hoping for Kara Major because I really wanted to kind of get a throwback to Zeo with that really being the conclusion of, or not, oh, I'm sorry, not Zeo, but if it could have done something like a in space with Cure Ranger, or even Zeo with Caramager, I think would have gone a long way, because those, I think, were, in space and Zeo were great seasons of Power Rangers that I think people would love to see celebrated once again. So yeah, anything that can harken back to bringing back old actors, I'll be for it. I don't really have a full storyline in my head as to what I would like to see. I just, only thing I ask from Hasbro, effort. Just effort. Don't be lazy with it. Just effort, and that's all I can ask. Adam Perea, my theory on who Void Knight would be before revealed to be actor Jared Turner. Even though we know that Void Knight is played both on screen and voiced by Jared Turner, but here is my old theory on Void Knight being Warden Garcia. Santora could have been Javi and Izzy's stepmom who dissipated. And the two siblings did not know Warden kept her hidden from them when she became in stasis, perhaps after she was presumed dead long before Dino Fury. I kind of dig that. We haven't seen them in the same place at the same time, but we have seen Void Knight appear when we know Warden Garcia was driving Izzy and Javi to the hospital in episode 7. Also, the Warden is Izzy's stepfather, so it's unlikely she'd be Izzy's birth mom. Void Knight appeared before Warden Garcia did. On the other hand, he also teleported away with Boom Tower and Mucus. So I guess it depends on whether you think Void Knight angrily teleported the two back to base, told them to wait, then teleported back to drive Izzy and Javi to the hospital and checked her in, then went back to Area 62 to sort things out with Boom Tower. Never a moment's peace for parents. It is strange that Void Knight never seems to take off his helmet when Mucus is Slither around until he is in the little chamber with Santora. However, Dr. Akana was with the Warden at his office when Void Knight was breaking into Dino Henge in the first episode. So there is an alibi. I love the comment that you bring up about it is strange that Void Knight never seems to take off his helmet in front of Mucus and Slither. And I think a part of that is, I do wonder how they would react to the idea of knowing that Void Knight is not an alien, but he is in fact a human. Like, would that hinder their alliance to Void Knight, right? If they think that he's this evil villain from outer space or an alien or whatever the case may be, or another monster like they certainly are, maybe there wouldn't be that animosity. But if they took off his helmet and they see that it's a human, I wonder if they would feel some type of way, like, hey, this human's taking advantage of us monsters and using us for his own thing, right? Like, he's not one of us type of mentality. And so I'm wondering if that's what Void Knight is trying to avoid. But we'll see. Great theory, Adam. Great theory. Power Rangers Legacy. Couple questions. With Jonathan Entwistle's past work, there were successful being about teens and having dark tones. Do you think when it comes to Power Rangers, he will once again use teens as the Rangers, or the content itself will be towards teens? It feels weird to me that using teens as the stars are just weird. We have 28 plus Ranger teams who weren't teens, even the actors themselves. Well, I think Jonathan Entwistle's bread and butter is teenagers. So I do think that they probably will be teens. Whether the whole entire team is built up of teens should be interesting to see. Because he does tackle teenagers relatively well and he's been successful at it. So listen, we also are getting different iterations of Power Rangers, it feels like. I mean, they have talked about the idea that we're getting a kids show, right? We're getting a more adult themed show with Jonathan Entwistle stuff. We're getting animation. There are opportunities there to switch things up, to have an adult team, to have a teenager team, to have maybe a combination of both, right? When I think of something like Caramager, which is a Super Sentai series, their team is all over the place, right? Juru is in school. When I look at Seiyo, she's a doctor. I think she's an adult. I got to think Shiguru's an adult himself, maybe a younger adult, but he's an actor. So I got to think that maybe he's an adult himself. Tommy Tomo seems like a teenager to a certain extent because he's part of the esports team. Same thing with Cena. So I do think that you can play around with it. Maybe Jonathan Entwistle's team isn't all teenagers. So who knows? Maybe it's some teenagers, maybe it's one of their parents, maybe it's a principal of the school. Who knows? But I think there's opportunity there to definitely switch it up. The Dino Thunder episode Lost in Translation. Did you like the three main Rangers watch the Beat Bad dubbed episode of Abba Ranger? And did you find it amusing that Connor, who had the most hard time watching, was not only to cover up the violent parts because they can't show that on the Disney era, but Connor was the one who asked about all the nonsense that Power Ranger does in his point of view. I did like that. I do remember that Lost in Translation episode. I definitely was a big fan of it, and the usage of the Abba Ranger footage. I thought was pretty cool in how they utilized it. Why did you think that Operation Overdrive, when Mac, the Red Ranger, was revealed to be android created by his father, then got revived into the actual human? Did you think it was a cool twist or kind of late to the series? Oddly, Beast Morphers is the whole real boy with Steel turning human at the end of the series. Does this tell you anything is possible in Power Rangers and that Mac's father is capable of even building a team of cyborg Rangers? Yeah, I love the twist. I truly did. I didn't see it coming. I really was a big fan of that twist, and I'm shout out to Simon Bennett even putting in a little Operations Overdrive nod in Dino Fury this season in like the very first episode, right? Like, didn't isn't that where Jay Borg came from? Mac's father's Android company, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, props to him even putting in Operation Overdrive, which was not a fan favorite. I feel like for a lot of Power Ranger fans, but at least showing it some love. But yeah, at this point in time, anything is possible when it comes to Power Rangers and what Power Rangers can do. The Morphin Grid certainly does work in mysterious ways. We've seen that in Beast Morphers. We've seen that here in Dino Fury a little bit. And yeah, so it would have been cool to see an entire team of cyborg Rangers. Definitely. Great questions. Adrian Perez. Let's see here. Hope all is well. And how are you liking being a dad so far? Can you still believe it? No. I sometimes, honestly, guys, when I'm changing them, or like when he's awake and it's time to feed him, I just fall in love all over again. Like I'm no BS, man. Sometimes I'll just sit there and just look at him and just in awe as to just what the human body can create. Seeing the little man that we created and just life and this person that's going to grow up before our very eyes and become his own person. It's a lot to really wrap my head around and come to grips with sometimes. Intimidating, scary, because you want the best for him. Don't want anything to happen to him. But just in awe as to just how handsome he is, how quickly he's growing in front of me. Yeah, man, it's super emotional. I'm trying not to get emotional talking about him right now. But yeah, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced. It truly is. Sometimes I'm just in awe just looking at him. I really am. Oh, sorry. Sorry. It's just yeah, it's an amazing journey. It really is. Back to it though. Regarding the news of Jonathan's Hasbro Power Rangers reimagining universe going to Netflix, when they mention kids programming alongside movies, do they mean Power Rangers series as kid programming or just random children's shows that aren't Power Rangers but connected? It could be weird if we got kid shows that's not Power Rangers but it's in the same universe. It could mean that, but I am very much under the impression that it does mean the Power Ranger kids show sort of as we know it. Maybe there are little web series and spin-offs for kids stuff that they're going to be creating too on top of that. That wouldn't be a bad idea, but I don't think it's either or, right? I think it could be both. When I think of kids programming, it's not like they said kids program. Uh, it could mean multiple things. So I am kind of under an impression that it'll probably be the Power Rangers kid show, like as we know it. Probably maybe picking up with that same format even that we have today, but just all original footage set into this reboot and reimagined universe. So I think you can keep keep doing what you're doing in that realm, but also expanding upon that. So that's kind of where what how I kind of interpreted it. But I can see it being interpreted your way also. But again, doesn't mean that it's either or. It could be and. While we all know that what kind of series Megaforce and Super Megaforce was, one of the things I found very interesting was that Orion was able to absorb the powers of all six Rangers and use them as Ranger keys to form his battle armor. How do you think he was able to do that if the writers dropped the ball and ignored everything? We saw that Orion can smash the Golden Ranger RPM keys into one hybrid key as the RPM Gold Silver Ranger. Yeah, they definitely dropped the ball on that. That I don't know. That I don't know. Um, I wish they kind of explained it a little bit more. Um, if anything, is probably just whatever his changer that he had, because he had a pretty unique changer, I feel like, compared to the other Rangers. So I am wondering if that ability that he has comes from the changer, his morpher. It could possibly be how he was able to absorb all those powers into one. That gold mode is pretty impressive. In Dino Fury Season 2, if we do get some rumors come to fruition, like Lord Zed returning and creating new versions of the Dark Rangers, would you like them to see them be mirror clones of the Dino Fury Rangers or other past Ranger teams? And plus have the ability to disguise as humans, and how would you like them to be defeated or even perhaps vanish so they could return in future Power Rangers series or movies? I think if you're going to bring back the Dark Rangers, and again, this is just a rumor, right? Something that me and Stuart did talk about, though, like it would be cool if they brought back Serpentera along with the Dark Rangers. I say have them be mirror clones of Dino Fury, just in darker toned colors. Um, so like red would probably be more of a maroon. Um, Blue would probably be like a navy blue. The black you can even maybe turn to like a gray. You know what I mean? Green could be like a deep forest green. I think it would be pretty cool. I think it would be pretty cool. Just give me clone mirror versions of them, but just in the more muted or darker colors. And then as far as like if you're going to bring them back, if I were to bring back the Dark Rangers, look, we haven't seen the Dark Rangers in 27, 26 plus years. I think you could probably end them off and not have to worry about them in the future. I would be okay with that. I would be okay with that if they just defeated them wholeheartedly. Power Rangers Netflix questions from Johnny Marrero. What's up, Johnny? Good to see you with the questions, man. Thank you very much. Are you excited that the new PR universe is coming to Netflix? I think this is a blessing in disguise for Power Rangers. The amount of freedom and creativity that Netflix certainly provides, I'm completely on board with. Somebody mentioned to me once, and I didn't know if I believe that or not. I hadn't read this anywhere. I can't remember if it was Stewart. Not to say I don't believe Stewart, but it's one of those things where it feels off to me when they say that. Like, I believe it was Stewart that said that Netflix only allows people that film for them or like their production to use certain cameras or lenses so that maybe they all look in unison. I feel like I've seen Netflix shows or movies look different, vastly different from each other. So I don't know how true that is, but maybe it is. But for the most part, I've always felt Netflix has always been um pretty loose in allowing the creators to be creators, and for that alone gets me really excited for what Power Rangers universe being a part of Netflix could truly mean. What Power Ranger projects from Jonathan Entwistle do you want to see happen for the new Power Ranger universe and Netflix? um well, I definitely want one of the things I definitely would like to see. I would like to see the movie team be the series team also, or if they do the series first, let that series team be the movie team also. Um, I definitely am looking forward to the animated series. I am kind of curious to see, or maybe it's not even a series, maybe it's an animated film. I think if maybe his movie or the series will establish a past lore, um, maybe a battle or a past team, and maybe that animated series can focus on a past team and highlight, like, as a prequel series, if you will, to the current iteration of Power Ranger team that Jonathan Entwistle is going to create. I think something like that would be pretty cool. And then maybe another team, not just here on Earth, but I would even take a team on a distant planet somewhere else. Like maybe that could be where the kids programming show goes next. Maybe the next group of Rangers is maybe on another planet or something like that. So there's a ton of great ideas, but give me some prequel movies, some prequel series also to really help build up that world, right? Like one of the things that Michael Lombardo talked about was that they are building a whole world sort of content. And so when I think of something like that, and when it comes to Power Rangers and just how vast the morphing grid is and what it's capable of doing, I would love to see a team of Rangers on another planet, along with a team on Earth, stories about them, and maybe some prequel movies and series also to kind of accompany them as well. So a lot of potential, a lot of potential. Maybe some spin-off stuff that winds up coming out of it. Maybe you have one that's focused specifically on a villain, as he comes to power or something like that. And then maybe you eventually have a big crossover event between your kids programming, your main series, all your teams having to maybe come together, right? Like if you create a spinoff or a prequel series of a villain that will eventually come to power and be his own person, you can get really creative, man. You can get really creative. According to Michael Lombardo, he says that Power Rangers will have kids programming. Does that include the main kids show as well? That's what I'm thinking. Similar question was kind of asked also earlier, but that's kind of where I'm thinking also, Johnny. When he says kids programming, I'm thinking the kids show as we know it. Perhaps that same sort of formula and format maybe being utilized for kids programming down the road. Marcelino Vasquez. He says, I came up with exclusive names for six strangers that never got their own. For instance, Antonio, I gave him name Ninja Gold. The reason why is that my version Antonio realized that the way of the samurai wasn't for him, so he decided to take up the way of the ninja by attending the Ninja Storm Academy. I dig that. It's not necessary to bring back any of the past Ninja Storm actors just for reference, but just mentioning will get the fans ecstatic. Plus, Ninja Gold is a good reference for Kaku Ranger, since my screen went black. Since the Kaku Rangers go by the names like Ninja Red, Ninja Blue, etc. For Orion, I wasn't able to come up with a name. If Megaforce used more of the pirate motif, then I could have come up with a name. For Ivan, I have three: the Knight of Xandar, the Xandar Ranger, or the Terra Knight. I kind of like Xandar Ranger, or even the Knight of Xandar. I kind of dig the Knight of Xandar. To kind of get away from the Ranger at the end, I kind of dig the Knight of Xandar, all of which represents his night side. For Levi Weston, I came up with the Western Ranger to represent his love for country music. For Nate and Steele, their names would be the Mantis Ranger and the Scarab Ranger. Okay. While their team name is the Bug Rangers. I like it. And finally, Ion's name would be either Mosa Ranger or Mosa Knight. I love the Mosa Knight. I love that, to reflect his nightlife, and his primary Zord is the Mosasaurus. I love Mosa Knight. Do you find it weird that Japan doesn't promote Go Ranger for being the first series when Mighty Morphin is constantly being promoted because it's the first Power Rangers series? I mean, I feel like Go Ranger gets promoted enough. I don't want to say enough, but I feel like Go Ranger continues to pop up in like anniversary episodes, right? Like I literally just saw Aka Ranger popped up in the Zenkaiger movie that we just had, of Kaido, when he becomes the leader and things like that, right? I think it was, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it had to do with Reds, and it was actually Go Ranger, Aka Ranger from Go Ranger that passed on like a power, or he passed on like a gear or something like that to Kaido, to Zenkaiger. So they definitely put them out there, right? I don't necessarily, look, I'm not in Japan, so I don't know how they promote stuff out there in regards to like, is Go Ranger up on posters when you go to like your video shop or you go to your comic book store, sort of thing, right? Like, I don't really know how they promote them, but I will say they continue to utilize him far more than what they do in Power Rangers. Power Rangers is a pop culture moment in our society. Um, and so, because of its impact, Hasbro knows that's a moneymaker. So, they're always going to push MMPR to the front. It may not necessarily be the same societal wise when it comes to Japan, right? Maybe it's more a current, whatever's current is hot sort of thing. But it is one of those things where they at least do a great job of paying homage to Go Ranger by bringing back Aqua Ranger from time to time and really putting him in great crossover events, great movies. So his presence is felt. And for that, I definitely will give them some praise in regards to how they handle it. So I don't want to say that they don't promote it; they just do it in a more unique way. What would you like to see in the Power Rangers open world video game, similar to Uncharted, Last of Us, or God of War 4? Man. If I'm gonna get a Power Ranger game, I'm gonna need some Alien Rangers, and not just. Not, I don't mean Alien Rangers in regards to the team Alien Rangers, but I would need a whole new cast of a whole new cast of characters, set sort of in a world of Power Rangers. Um, like for me, when I think of the Power Ranger video game, I kind of think of the opening sequence to the 2017 Power Rangers movie when we got Zordon as leader of the Red Rangers. Maybe pick up from that moment in the video game and allow you to play as past Power Rangers. Think of like Knights of the Old Republic sort of mentality, open world sort of thing, visiting other planets, collecting power coins, putting together a Power Ranger team of your own. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if I would have it in the same realm of Uncharted, but I would probably have it more in the realm of Knights of the Old Republic if I had a more RPG style in that sense of open world, building up your Power Ranger team, whether you pick your alien race that you want to be, sort of thing. That's the type of route that I would go for a Power Ranger show. Like I wouldn't even set it on Earth. I would literally set it in a galaxy far, far away, just to kind of get away from it, but allow you to have the creative freedom to create stories and a world. And, if you want to put in Easter eggs here of the impact that your story will have on future Power Rangers series or whatever the case may be, or moments from the future type of thing that get brought up in here. I think you could have a really fun open world Power Ranger stuff. Give me something along those lines. I'll take that. Let's see here. A couple other questions. L'Oreal, she says, the new Zords were so hardcore. Am I right? Yeah, I love the Raptor Zords in here. I forgot that they were twins, like the two Raptors, both of them with their own unique power, but they look great. They absolutely look great, especially when they start combining with each other and when they start combining with the actual Megazord itself. You're going to see some really great combinations. Props to Real Soldier. Again, while I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the Real Soldier series, they did do justice by the great costume designs, the great armor designs, the great Zords designs. Sometimes it can look a little bit cumbersome, a lot of pieces attached sort of thing, but I think for the most part, they really rocked it. Ion was totally on his game today. I totally agree with you. I love that he wind up sort of taking the lead in this episode, really kind of putting the stamp on those nightmares. In a dream sequence, in the dream sequence, Mucus was more childish than usual, and that's coming from me. Yeah, she definitely has that childish side for sure. She definitely has shown that side throughout Dino Fury, I feel like, but fully embracing the coolness that is, in fact, Mucus. Yeah, she was eating it up, eating it up. Remember how I said that the shadow line darkness erases everyone's memories of the Power Rangers and their existence? Those with the strong imagination still remember them. How'd it be if the theme to MMPR broke the spell? Huh, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. JB says, "What?" Thinking about what Simon Bennett said about adapting Lupin Ranger versus Pat, it made me think that he has a point. Thinking back to SPD and Operation Overdrive, what are your thoughts that the two black characters were thieves? If that's how woke people are, that would have been a problem today. Yeah, you're right. JB says what? Bad optics. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's just culture has changed, times have changed. I you know, I, it's he is onto something. I know some people don't want to look at it that way. And listen, I have seen some great ideas again of how you can maybe work around it, right? To kind of put a more positive spin on it. But yeah, I don't know if SPD and Operation Overdrive were to drop in today's climate, I'm sure there would probably be some pushback. I'm just being honest. I do think that there would be some pushback. I do think that some people would certainly feel some type of way about it. Some people would complain. So yeah, there definitely would be some issues. But again, could you do a completely different story? Absolutely. I don't think Simon Bennett is saying you can't do it. He's just simply saying the optics these days is probably what's hindering them. And I think also the idea of what Hasbro is trying to brand Power Rangers as to kids, I think that gets in the way too. So again, not that you can't do it correctly, but I think it's just the option of the optics and trying just avoid it in general. So I definitely get what you're saying. JB says what, thinking about SPD and Operation Overdrive now. Doomsday. What do you think will happen in Ten Gokaiger? Um, well, Ten Gokaiger, I think right now does have English subs out. I don't know if there's an HD quality version of it out there. I'll have to look. I did download the movie, but I am gonna have to. I haven't checked it out yet. What I would like to see happen, I would like to see some of these Rangers fight against each other for sure. I think there's a Joe versus Marvelous fight in this movie. I definitely want to see. For me, I just want to see where they're at in their lives 10 years later. I want to see the changes that have happened to these people. So yeah, I don't really have too many expectations going into it. I just want to see the movie. I forgot to ask you this last week. Do you like or not like whenever Rangers switch bodies with each other along with their voices? Excuse me. I do like it. I'm a big fan. Um, for me, while I enjoyed the body swap idea, I did. I think it was Marcelino that said that he wishes that they had gone a step further in regards to having the actors like fully portray them, like and maybe in their own voice, but act like them, like voice wise, um, how the way you handle, like the way that your physical appearance, sort of thing. I do wish that they had maybe taken it a little bit further, but I'm always a big fan of body swap because I really do love to see how the actors perform, because I always feel like it forces them to really showcase their performance and their talent in that regards, to be somebody that they're not, especially somebody that they literally work with on set. Like, how do you represent this person? Like, if you had to act as this person, what would they act like to you? So for me, that's always really fun. So I'm always a big fan. When Tommy turned evil in Zeo, how amazing was Jason David Frank's acting when the other Zeo Rangers were trying to break the spell? I mean, it was okay. I mean, look, I've never really given JDF that many props in regards to his performances. But as far as the level of like Power Rangers show at the time, probably pretty good. But that's something I might have to go back and rewatch. It's been a minute since I've watched it, honestly. And then the last sets of question here. This comes from Dino AJ, Mr. AJ himself. What other actors would you like to be in Legends of the White Dragon that we may never expect? And do you think JDF has been working on White Dragon for years since he's been doing Power Rangers Beatdown, Super Power Ranger Beatdown in Bat in the Sun. Yeah, I mean, I think probably the ideas come up. I mean, I think maybe after working with them for quite some time, seeing the work that they're doing, what they're capable of, the type of designs that they come up with, stories that they come up with, it probably, ignited some of his fuel and his juices in his head in regards to what the potential of what else he could possibly do with them. So yeah, I do think he's probably been working on this behind the scenes for years. And would you like a sequel if the movie does well? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would be completely open to that. As far as what other actors, probably just other actors from other genres, I think would go a long way. Like Homeboy even has um the guy from John Wick 3 in here that played the villain. Homeboy was even the Iron Chef in on the Food Network. I believe he's in this movie too. I think maybe as Eric Reed's mentor, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the main fight at the end of John Wick 3 that Keanu Reeves faced off against. To be able to get a big name like that, like JDF definitely has got some connections. So I don't know, maybe Ming Na Wen would have been really cool. I would love to see Ming Na in here. Yeah, give me that. Or B plus says Austin St. John in a sequel. Look, that's a great call, man. That's a great call. So Ming Na Wen and Austin St. John. Give me those two. For those of you who don't know Ming Na Wen, she played Agent May in, I was about to say Aunt May, Agent May over in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's also playing Fennec Shade over in The Mandalorian and this upcoming series of The Book of Boba Fett. I mean, Ming Na Wen, come on, come on, come on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She's great in everything she touches. Now that you've seen episode 20, which is part one of the season finale, how would you predict part two, which is where it all goes down? And who do you think will survive and perish? We know Skrouzla and Beast Morphers refuse to die in both seasons. I think everybody makes it out of here alive, which is kind of crazy to think. Um, let's see here. All right. Based off of what we know, Void Knight's got two options for him. He's got the body swap thing, and he's got the technology from Dr. Akana to tap into the morphing grid. Something tells me he will get super close to achieving what he wants to do, but the Power Rangers will F it up for him in some way. So maybe he gets the power that he needs to bring her back. And then maybe in the process of body swapping her with somebody, the Rangers mess it up and maybe her spirit goes elsewhere. And Void Knight is pissed that he didn't get his love back and vows revenge for the Rangers. And in turn, maybe this turns Santora into the Madame Noir lady from Tokujo, or maybe it turns her later into Precious, into something that she's certainly not fully. I think his identity will probably be revealed in here in a battle. I'm hoping it's a Void Knight versus Zato battle. Give me a rematch from episode number 1. So I think in part, Santora doesn't survive, but maybe she changes into something else. Void Knight escapes to plot his revenge, and the Dino Fury Rangers save the day. That's where I'm going with that. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Did you expect to see the Ravcon Rangers to show up in the Nightmare Dimension as nightmares? And would you like if maybe in season 2 they turn out to actually be alive and well, or prefer if they had been gone for good in the flashback? It was cool that the 4 current Dino Rangers saw Ravcon Rangers in the portal before Zato went in. Yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of see the current Rangers see the past Rangers, or I should say the past Rangers, if you will. JB says, what says, I mean, nothing better happened than Slather or Mucus. Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's why I didn't even bring them up, because I think they probably make it through this just fine. But I can see something really happening to Void Knight Because again, there is limited footage of Void Knight in Real Soldier. So I think there's, whether or not they destroy Void Knight, or who knows, maybe it is revealed that in battling Void Knight, maybe the armor is possessed, and in battling Void Knight, they actually uh, um, rescue whoever the human embodiment is, but the armor itself lives on and maybe escapes, and then maybe comes back in season 2. And maybe more original footage. So I do wonder if something does happen to Void Knight at the end of this, doesn't fully perish, but is available to come back in season 2 if that in fact happens. So yeah. As far as Rafcon Rangers, if I had my preference, them being alive and well would be my preference. I think Ion and Zato harboring a lot of that pain and hurt from those moments, I think they could use a win to know that their people are still out there. So if the Rafcon Rangers were to return, I would love to see them alive and well, minus powers, but just actually give them human embodiments. I want to see actors actually portray them, and hopefully Ion and Zato at some point in time get the opportunity to meet them. That's where I would personally like to see that go for season 2. All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that wraps it up here. In regards to your guys' live viewer questions, I will scroll up just a little bit to see what you guys are saying real quick. I won't go back too far. He says, Marcelino says, I think it's time you change the format of how many questions one can ask. You have so many fans asking you questions, it's not worth the stress since you now have a kid. I would be lying, Marcelino, if I said I haven't thought about it. The format of my questions right now, I usually say 3 per person, but I have been thinking about just 1 per person, honestly. Finding a really good, solid question that you want to ask and asking it. I have been thinking about it too, Marcelino, just because our show does tend to run a little bit long from time to time, because we do some long-winded, thoughtful out questions, answers, and things like that. So I'm thinking about it, Marcelino. I am thinking about it. JB says, Wes says, I think the old Ranger actors don't come back because of the fans. So many people refer to them as their character names. That's so fucked up. Yeah, sometimes I guess it's hard for the fandom to separate human from actual character, and they probably think that their lives revolve around Power Rangers, when in the truth of the matter is, like, they got other things they're doing in their life. You know what I'm saying? Other projects they're probably working on too. But I also think it's maybe just the idea that nobody's probably reached out to them. A lot of these actors, I don't know if they're doing any big things these days, and the opportunity to have to be able to be back on a set, to be back in a Power Rangers series, especially if if your career hasn't really gone anywhere, if you're not really doing anything TV wise, if it's something that you maybe want to try and get back into that'll pay you decently enough, certainly why not? But maybe some of the fandom has run some people off to where they don't certainly want to return. But I think if you come up with a really compelling way to bring them back and ask them nicely and pay them handsomely for their time, I don't see why they wouldn't. I just think it's also a lack of trying by the companies that have owned Power Rangers over the years. Adrian says, do you think the grid connection involving the Morphin grid was a good thing or a bad thing? I read some reviews that the Morphin grid focus was confusing to some fans. I can see that. I can see that being a little bit confusing to fans. I don't mind the idea of things connecting to the Morphin grid, but I think also at the same time, you do want to keep some level of mystery, and you don't want to involve it too much. So yeah. Power Rangers says Dr. Ranger says since Dr. Arcana now works alongside the Dino Fury Rangers, can you see her and Commander Shaw teaming up in her cameo? Maybe she gives a gun to Dr. Arcana and shoots some baddies. Yeah, can I get Commander Shaw and Dr. Arcana back to back, just using their laser blasters? Yeah, man, give me that. Give me that. Emmanuel says, Adam, have you considered making a 30-day Ranger challenge video? I don't even know what that is. If you can elaborate, maybe. Right now, though, it's time, just time. Um, Power Rangers Ready says, can you still see Ollie and Amelia becoming a honey muffin in season 2? Yeah, I still can. I still can. Can you still see Pop Pop becoming a ranger in Real Soldier with with Sito? We know how that went. Pop Pop as the Brown Ranger. You know, I'm not gonna say impossible, man. Pop Pop's been around a lot. A great supporting character in here. Not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna say that's not impossible. Charles says, "You'll be a great dad, Adam. God be with you. Big up to you and your family. Thank you very much, Charles. That means the world to me, man. Appreciate that." Are you reviewing the Christmas episode? I cannot wait to see all the Dino Fury Zord toys next Christmas. Yeah, I probably will. If I'm doing this season, I'm definitely doing this season. So I probably will be reviewing it. What am I getting your? What are you getting your family for Christmas? Look, I gave my family a grandchild. Okay, the sperm was hard at work, so finally get my mom and dad grandchildren, and Cindy's family some grandchildren. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. No, I think if anything, if anything, I'm probably well, I know I want to decorate the house. Maybe not go overboard, but I am contemplating a Christmas tree, which we don't have up yet, along with maybe some Christmas lights in the front. So some decorations. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. If anything, my dad's birthday was actually as of yesterday. I sent him a gift. Um, so we'll see. Right now, if anything, my parents will actually be down for Christmas. So I probably will be getting them something also. But I mean, look, I should be set for life, right? With this grandchild, I should be set. Adam Pereira says, I don't know if you be open to it, but can maybe a Christmas or New Year's Eve we get a small blog from your new family or just a picture posted on the community page? We'll probably do that. Probably do that, Adam. I could probably do that. Adrian Perez, Adrian says, this is just me, but you know how some Sentai movies or specials, they have exclusive Rangers for a small period of time. Would I like PR to use that Ranger suit in the future in new footage? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like Zen Kaiser has some great costumes. Zen Kaiser himself, two Kaiser, even there's a red Zen Kaiser also from one of the movies. Yeah, they really do go out of their way and make some really great, unique costumes. So yeah, I would love to see them utilized in some way or another. Adam says, obvious question. Do you prefer this Ion focus than the ice cream episode? Yes, very much so. Very much so. Charles says, hey, Adam, have you ever considered Zoom for these sessions? You can stream and YouTube at the same time and we can interact. I've not considered Zoom before. No, I've never. I'd be interested to see how that works. But I've never really utilized Zoom too much before. Know how it works, but as far as like for the live sessions and stuff, I've never really thought about it. All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that'll do it. I think that'll do it for us. So thank you very much, guys, once again for all your live viewer questions. As always, definitely appreciate it each and every week. And of course, your discussions anytime we go ahead and break down a Dino Fury episode for you guys. But we definitely will be back next week. Hopefully, we've got more news for you guys to certainly go ahead and tackle. And regardless if we do or not, we're going to be here for the Dino Fury season finale for the final episode of season 1, guys. I'm super pumped to see where this is going to be building up to. I cannot cannot wait, and I'm really eager to certainly go ahead and talk with you guys about it all. But if you guys would like to, we also do have another YouTube channel called A Plus Hero Report. If you're big fans of Marvel, DC, movies, and television in general, and want to be kept up to date on the weekly basis, check us out at A Plus Hero Reports, another YouTube channel, A Plus Hero Reports, as we go live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So certainly join us tomorrow also. But if I don't see you guys there, I definitely will in fact see you guys next week. But until then, as always, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.